Let's get to it.
Hey, dude.
Hello. So
Okay. Yeah, sorry to, I don't know, surprise you with the non-reboot thing.
a little bit.
But yeah, like, I kind of have, like, a list of things that I'm, like, not super sure I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I think gear progression is probably a lot more straightforward in non-reboot. Um, just because you don't necessarily have to wait on things if you farm up enough mesos, I guess. Uh, the only issue I'm having right now is
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much have everything to epic, and I guess the only way I've gotten something to tier up to unique is with Master Craftsman's cubes, which like aren't like super easy to farm, and I mean I guess obviously since it's non-reboot, like the way to go is like cubes from NX, but uh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just kind of like a feels bad to do that.
A little bit.
So yeah, so and then also since there is I don't know, like I'm just sitting on the epic potential right now, just because I'm only level 210. I'm a 210 Kinesis,
Mm-hmm.
and like right now it doesn't feel like I'm behind the gear curve. Um, but yeah, like gear isn't super like the big thing for me right now, I don't think.
Okay.
Um, I do like one thing I don't really get is like flames. Like I've been playing around with the calculator that you have, but
Yeah.
I'm not really sure like what I'm looking at. Like I put in the scores or I put in the values,
Mm-hmm.
and then I get like a score. Like like for example, I if I put in the values for my psi limiter,
Yeah.
I get like a 343 on the flame score.
The
But then
weapon
I don't
is
really know.
yeah. So the weapon is
Yeah.
separate. That's why we have like item flame calculator and the weapon next to it.
Oh. Okay.
Because weapon also gets percentage boss damage and percentage damage, and how good those are really depends per class on how many sources of damage you already have. So that it's really hard to express that into a flame score. While
Okay.
it is a very very important part of the value of the flame. And that's as far as I know, one of the things mainly in reboot versus non-reboot is that in non-reboot, percentage damage and percentage boss damage are valued more highly because you guys don't have the reboot buff that we have, where we get 1% damage for every 2 levels. So at level 200, we just get a free 100% damage basically. I mean
Okay.
free, but we don't have access to to scrolling or to bonus spots, so it comes at a price. But since we get it in that part, in general, percentage damage is seen as more valuable, and you guys tend to stack more boss damage as a result because it stays efficient for longer.
So, uh, okay. So, like boss damage, you can get like in your inner ability too, right?
Yes.
Okay, but like, can you get it on weapons, or I mean, it's
On
already
the
on weapons, but can you get it on other equipments? I mean,
boss damage, so
yeah.
I don't know for bonus potential. I really don't know. For
Okay.
regular potential, you can get it on your weapon and your secondary weapon.
Okay.
Those can get boss
Um,
damage.
yeah. So I guess like the thing is like when I'm looking at a flame, like, um, because the calculator kind of tells you right like
Yeah, it
the
gives you the
tier it's
score.
at.
Yeah. Uh,
But like that's not like since I'm not necessarily like looking for the highest tier,
mm-hmm.
and I guess I'm just kind of like looking for like what's like good, I guess
Mm-hmm.
in a way. Um, how do I know if like if I'm like if I do like use you know the rebirth flame on an item
Mm-hmm.
and I get like like something in and something in like magic attack, like how do I know if that's like like good, I guess.
Yeah. So the goals of what you want to aim for in the flame score, mind you, that it is it is still pretty specific for reboot. I think for non-reboot you might aim a bit lower because it's more expensive and like more difficult to get to flames, whereas in reboot we have more drop rate from the bosses and we can just buy them from the shop if you want. So you probably want to err on the lower side specifically for the items without flame advantage. You know about the difference between items that have flame advantage and ones that don't?
Yeah, like some just have like better flames, so you want to roll those first.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. So if you check ! progression, this is where I kind of put all the numbers together of what you want to aim for, depending on like where you are in the game, basically. So this is where, so this is specifically for reboot. So this depends on like what are your goals in the beginning of the game, in the middle of that stage, in the end of that stage, and then the end of the stage is obviously the start of the next stage. And then if you want to be able to do those things kind of comfortably, you want to aim for these numbers. So there's also the weapon flame is also here. So the tier that you just calculated, right, when you put it into the calculator. So that will be the tier of weapon or magic attack.
Is tier 0. I don't know.
Tier 0.
If I did something wrong.
That must be something wrong. Hang on.
Okay, let me refresh, because I put, like, the level, it's like a 160, and then the base attack is 143, and the
oh yeah, you got to put the base magic attack, right? Because we want to get the, you don't really care about the weapon attack, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't see that option, I guess.
243, 160 to 199, flame advantaged, and you got 73. Oh, I guess that's rounded. Oh no, 241. My bad. I put in the wrong number. So it's a tier 5. Oh yeah, you got to click calculate, and then it'll attack flame. You got to like enter that number as well. Like if you enter the 73 below here, and then click calculate, it'll give you the tier. But if you just put in the base attack, you can already see the numbers up here. Do you see what I did on stream?
Yeah, but mine, like, I don't know, like, I'm clicking calculate, but it's, like, not changing anything, I guess. Maybe it's just...
Did you put in 241 here and 73 here?
Yeah, I put in 241 and 73, and I'm clicking calculate, but nothing's happening. Oh, okay, wait, never mind. Oh, my bad. I didn't click the check mark on flame advantage.
There you go. Yeah, because if you have this one, it can't calculate because that number isn't part of the list here. Yeah. And you see the numbers are also bigger for non-flame advantage items because non-flame advantage items have lower base, so their flames actually are higher numbers. They actually get bigger percentages.
Right. So what this tells me is that like the flame can be improved, basically.
Yeah. So that is a reboot goal that it's set. You do have 6% damage on it, so that will keep. I would say that having a tier 5 plus the 6% damage, I think, gives you roughly like the equivalent probably of a tier 6 flat.
Okay.
So I would count that as a tier 6. So if you're like early, were you 210?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say around that point, it's probably a decent flame. What you eventually want to aim for is you want to aim for boss damage on the flame because you won't need the percentage damage anymore to kill monsters around your level. That's mostly going to be taken care of by just your gear itself, by Arcane Power, and by your Matrix.
I pretty much one-shot like mobbing like really easily.
Yes. So if you look at the numbers for all the stats, you'll see that if you have the same tier of flame in damage versus in boss damage doubles compared to regular damage. So that's why you tend to aim for boss damage on the flame, so you can get more value out of the same quality of flame.
Okay, and then about like the Matrix and stuff, I'm like kind of really lost. Like,
well, one thing I would say before that, I think you're the one thing I would say, like with your potentials and everything, one thing I do see is that if you have Master Craftsman cubes and stuff, I would definitely throw them on your emblem to try to aim for magic attack on your top lines instead of intellect. That would give you way more damage there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that just like looks really good, right?
Yeah, yeah, no,
Like
it does. If it was
yeah.
any item except for an emblem, that would be really good. But I'm pretty sure that so that's why I think with bonus potential, I might not be 100% right, but I think the boss damage can also come on the I think the bonus potential maybe on your weapon and your secondary,
Okay.
because for like a lot of items where you can get it as the main potential, sometimes you can also get it as a bonus potential. So you see the magic attack and the bonus potential, which that's really good I think for epic, right, on an emblem. But then the
Yeah.
base potential could have the same thing, and I'm pretty sure if you just have 6% magic attack, that'll already be quite a bit better than 9% intellect with 12 intellect. So yeah, it looks really good,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
percentage magic attack is
The
so much
thing
better.
about the thing about my gear right now, right, is because it's all epic. I was just kind of like looking for like the best thing that I think I'm gonna get within the epic tier, because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's gonna take me a while before I'm ready to like push it like further, because I kind of have to like um gather up resources, or just, well, the annoying thing, right, is because like the master craftsman cubes, like they drop from the hunter's pouch and stuff, like, but they have like a time limit on them, so I can't like save
Oh,
them
they're like
up
1
here and
week,
just like
or
stack them.
they're like a week
I
duration,
think it's
or
actually, yeah, it might be a week, but it's not like a super long time, and
no?
I
True.
only get like, if I'm playing a lot, I get like 2 to 3 a day, you
Yeah,
know.
that's not great.
Um, and so like
Do
I
you
guess
harvests?
I haven't really jumped into crafting.
So they can drop if you harvest like big plants and big flowers and big rocks. They can drop from those as well. So it is a good idea to unlock
Okay.
your herbalism and your mining and level those up so you can open those. Some people just go have like mules where they just go the whole day, just look around trying to harvest plants to like farm cubes with. That's the thing
Yeah.
people do.
So yeah, so I feel like I'm gonna because my kind of goal, like my game goal right now, the thing that I kind of want to do is I want to get to Lucid, and I kind of want to be able to like solo Lucid.
Okay.
Um, but I think more important than gear is like levels for that. Um, so yeah, like I'm 210 right now. Like I think I kind of at least want to push to like 250. I don't have like super like big goals of like, like just training like super high, but like I think 250 is like a good goal
Mm-hmm.
for me to have right now, in terms of like it's like reachable with like how much I play and like that sort of thing. So like
Okay.
and then the other thing is like all my stuff is 12 star, because I'm kind of scared to go and it's been getting really expensive. Like I think my weapon, it's like 20 mil which maybe isn't a lot. I don't know like how that translates to Reboot, but like it
Mm-hmm.
feels like a lot to me, like 20 mil um just for like a roll, I guess. And then if I safeguard it, it like doubles. And like I guess like it's like 0.06% chance, I guess, that it booms. But I'm like like I'm still so scared that it's gonna boom
Yeah.
that like I feel like I don't want to roll it unless I'm safeguarding. But like then it's just like double, like
Yeah.
it's like 40 mil.
No, for sure.
But yeah,
Yeah.
like that's
A while ago, the meso value was a lot. The individual meso value was a lot lower, and people would just like no brain up to 20, 21, 22, whatever, and that would be like a basic upgrade, and then you would think about going from epic to unique, basically. But that has all shifted now because of the value of mesos changing a lot. The main thing is still when you're upgrading. So in your case, it would be when you're scrolling, or well, I guess also or cubing or star forcing, is that you play around events that happen. So tomorrow is going to be 30% off star forcing. That is typically when people, at least in Reboot, push for 15, because you're going to have a lot of attempts. It does not take 30% off of the star force cost, so you're not going to be paying like 0.7 of your sorry, it doesn't take 30% off the safeguard cost, so you're gonna pay like 1.7 times instead of 2 times. So it's only like 15% off if you're safeguarding right past 12. But that does save you money in the long run. And for items that you're going to be pushing past 15 eventually, getting to 15 is very useful, because once you start getting past 15, you start getting both magic attack and intellect, and that's when it really starts paying off. But typically then you want to wait for a 5, 10, 15 event where you can get 15 to 16 at 100% chance. and then you can safeguard
Yeah,
up to
but
17.
so the event's just like a meso discount, right? It's not increasing the chance of success.
Well,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, yes, but that basically means that you have an increased chance of success with the same amount of money, right? Because you'll have
Right.
more rolls. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's why like yeah, the gear is kind of like where it is right now. Like I
Mhm.
think also like my rings, like um the only like I think the best ring I'm pretty close to like having the best rings. 'Cause I think I read like the best ring for non-reboot is like um I think it's Breath of Divinity, Meister, and then 2 Gollux rings, I think.
It's
Um,
yeah, it's possible.
Superior and Reinforced, I think. But like, I don't know how to get. I think Breath of Divinity only comes from the Marvel machine.
Yeah, and it's like
Um,
$3,000, I think, worth.
yeah. So yeah, and so that was the other. I don't know if you would know, but like I found a guide on Dexlist, but it had them sorted like the ring sets, like as sets. It was like these are like sets.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I don't have Breath of Divinity, is it like not good to have like Superior Gollux and Meister, I
Now,
guess?
Superior Gollux is, as far as I know, so Superior Gollux stays the brain dead option because you want to get the 4-set Superior.
Okay.
I don't know if there are other options where you completely just let go of the Superior ring, because if you do, then you would need 2 pendants, belt, and earring to complete the set.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there are items that exist on non-reboot that don't exist in reboot that could interfere with like set combinations. So at that point, I don't feel super confident about
Yeah.
giving
Yeah.
too much in-depth advice there. And
Yeah. No, I think the set bonus is yeah, I think it's really good. It's just I don't know if I will get a second like I don't want to like spend money on the temporary second pendant slot. So and
mhm.
I also don't know like I've seen that there's like a permanent one, but it's like obviously like gamble like loot box type deal, or it comes from the Marvel machine too, I think maybe.
Hmm.
Um so yeah, yeah, I think I'm gonna sit on these rings probably for a while. Like the treasure ring seems pretty good.
Yeah, kind of
Um,
treasure ring is also a high level ring. Yeah.
yeah, so like yeah, so I don't think my gear is gonna change like a lot. Like eventually, like once I'm able to start doing Lucid, then I'd want to get like Arcane Umbra, but then it's like super scary because like you can't even transfer hammer if you wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
and like if you boom that, I feel like it's just so much like it sets you back like so much.
Yeah, it
So
does. Yeah.
so like it's like I could probably get like Absol. I would probably feel more comfortable like tiering up Absolab in terms of Star Force and like potential more than I would like even if I had Arcane Umbra like eventually, because yeah, just because if I boom the Umbra, like it's just like done. It's just like such a waste.
Yeah, it's
Um,
yeah, for sure. It's super expensive.
yeah. Okay. So
There is a chance though.
it,
So what happened in KMS is that they increased the drop rate for special drops and for Arcane Umbra gear as well significantly with the winter update, with their summer update. So that'll be our winter update. So there is a good chance that after that, parties will just start breaking up and people will just start like soloing and duoing just so they can get way more instances of drops, and they might start almost like flooding the market with arcane stuff, pushing the prices down. Of course, as the supply goes up, more people start going on it as well, you know, because then it becomes more affordable to more people. So then this demand will go up, which will drive the price up again. So it'll be a little bit touch and go to see where the price will settle, but it should be a little bit lower than where it is now.
yeah. So yeah, maybe by the time that event happens, I will be, if it does happen, I'll be at the point where I can actually solo Lucid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Cause actually like right now, so this is another question. I'm kind of stuck because I actually went from 200 to 210 in the Dark World tree.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
cause I like some guides said to do in the river on like the Urdas, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like always like 20-30% burning, which is like it's like worse than if I find anything above 50% like in the Dark World tree.
Okay.
So I was training in Dark World tree to 210, but like now like I'm kind of confused because I don't have the symbol or the like Arcane Power or whatever
Mm-hmm.
to go to any of the places that like guides are like recommending to go from 210 to 220.
Yeah. Have
And
you been doing the daily quests in our Vanishing Journey?
no.
So that's why. So you're kind of time gated with how quickly you can move on to the new areas. Not as much in non-reboot because you can kind of brute force your way, but at a certain point you're gonna start taking a lot of damage from the monsters and dealing almost no damage to them as they increase and increase. So what you need is you need to increase your arcane power as well, so you can keep up with your levels going to the higher areas. So there are 2 dailies that you can do once you complete getting the symbol in the area. Did you do the whole pre-quest and get your symbol?
No, I've kind of like so that was another question I have. I've kind of been ignoring like story quests and just like grinding levels.
Mm-hmm.
So like at the bottom I also like have a list of all the quests I like have in my like
Oh yeah.
I don't know which ones like I should do and which ones I shouldn't do. Like are there any like that you see that like I should probably like do?
Yeah, these are supposed to be the excerpt from all of your quests, which are already the most important ones. But yeah, there's a lot of these that are not very important.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Let's see. You also have wild totems that you can buy from the reward point shop, right?
Yeah, I've gotten 2 actually from the daily thing.
Yep.
And
That's also
yeah,
true.
and then I can buy them as well.
Mm-hmm.
I probably should have been using my reward points differently, but I've kind of like used them for like inventory space. But yeah, so I'm on day 20, so I've gotten, or maybe I've only gotten 1. Oh no, I've gotten 2. I got 1. Yeah, so I'm on day 20 of the Fairy Bros thing. So I have 2 that I haven't used yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I haven't really been doing like dedicated like training sessions just because of like the way my schedule's been. I've just kind of been like going and just training like 15 minutes, like, so it hasn't been like
Okay.
super efficient, but
Mm-hmm.
just to feel like I'm doing something and like I'm progressing.
I see. Yeah.
So yeah, so like whenever I see an MVP or something, then I'll like go, because like I said, I've only really been playing for like 2.5 weeks, and I started like halfway through the burning, and so the like first week that I've been playing like was just like trying to get all those burning characters to 150.
Oh yeah, your Legion build-up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the 6th possible, and then after that I was like scrambling to try and figure out the event, and I think I only had like 4 or 5 days of the surge.
Oh yeah.
But like in that time I think I went from like 180 to 200 like with the surge, but
Mhm.
I didn't get like super big value out of it. But yeah, like do you think like my like Legion is like the most important thing right now? Because I don't have a whole lot on that.
Legion is important, but I guess we'll like tackle everything like at like one at a time,
Okay.
and then and I kind of like put them together and then see which one will give you the biggest gains, I guess.
Okay.
So quest wise, probably want to start Monster Collector, just so that when you add monsters, you can see that whole UI and everything. You can use Monster Collector to passively generate reward points for you in the background. So that would be nice to be able to buy those totems if you do want to do those dedicated 2-hour sessions. That's all pretty unnecessary. Silent Crusade is necessary if you want to unlock the Arc boss to get Mechanator and Dominator pendants.
Yeah. So can I just a quick question on that? Like, you have to like go and like it's like a bounty hunting thing, right? Where you find these bosses on different maps and like you kill them.
It's pretty straightforward. It's just there's like a quest to go to this area. You talk to the NPC, and then the NPC is like right next to a portal. You click into the portal, and then it has the portal has like a pre-spawned boss in there for you.
Okay.
It's not super complicated. It really takes you by the hand,
Okay.
one step at a time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I misunderstood it. I think it was like I thought it was like telling you a boss is on this map because I would like click navigation and it tell me to go to that map, and I was just like killing stuff on that map waiting for the boss to spawn.
Oh yeah,
And it
no,
never
yeah.
spawned, so I was like, okay, like fuck this. I'm not gonna do this like 15 times.
Yeah, no. All of the special maps have like special portals. They're like green floaty crystals, basically. And if you talk
Yeah.
on those, you can go into the special map, and then they'll have
Okay.
like a
Yeah,
different
I think
version
I
of the
needed to
boss.
accept this quest in order for it to let me do that, so that was probably the issue.
Yeah. This one, Cry for Help, takes you to Kerning first, to the subway, and then there you talk to the first NPC that gets attacked. I did this recently. There's like a few
Okay.
monsters that spawn, and then you click, and then you kill the first boss in the first portal that you see, which is like the Spirit of Rock. And all of these bosses are like recolors of the original one. So the Spirit of Rock is usually like dark blue, and then in this he's like red, and it's always like just a different color of the same boss in the special portal. I forget what the portal is called, but
Okay, so Monster Collector, Silent Crusade, Cry for Help.
yep. And then let's see. I mean, you're already hovering over. So I don't. I guess you could do Commercy, but I think you already have the accessories, right?
Yeah, I got the Sweetwater one, and then like I started the Commercy. I don't know why
They're
I
pretty
still
cheap
have a
now.
Commercy quest, because I like have.
So
Yeah, but
in
they're
Commercy there's
cheap to buy
quests.
off the auction
Yeah,
house.
you can do like area quests there to unlock getting the Commercy gear and everything. But the get rich quick is basically so that once you talk to the NPC, you can start doing your voyages, your solo voyages where you get on a boat, you take goods with you, and then depending on how far the voyage was and how many goods you took with you and how many monsters you killed on the way, etc., you get dineros. And then with those dineros you can buy the accessories. But I think there's a lot of people already doing that, and I think the accessories are pretty cheap in the auction house now, right?
Yeah, they're like 50 mil, which is pretty cheap. If like it's like a half a week of bossing if I like if I do the bosses I can do, because lately I've been trying to like push to see what bosses I can do and just failing, so just like kind of wasting that income. But yeah.
I mean, it's not a waste if you can get to being able to kill it faster in total, right? I mean, if you don't try it at all, you're wasting it as well. So
Yeah, that's true.
the only waste is if you either try it and don't learn anything from it, or if you don't try it at all. That's the only real waste, I think. If you try it and you learn from it, then it has value.
Right.
One thing though with your rings, I don't know how you upgraded them, but aren't there scrolls that you can use to upgrade these to get extra weapon attack or more stat on them?
Yeah, like so that was another thing that I haven't really been too sure about, is like there's like a ton of different scrolls and I'm not sure like what they all do.
I don't know that either. Like there's like prime
so
scrolls I
have
think
to
are
look,
good. Yeah.
Yeah, because like when you kill like the 3 doors, I mean when you kill the root abyss, because I haven't progressed into chaos yet, but like there's like a little NPC who will sell you like specific scrolls.
Yeah.
Instead of just like the spell trace ones. And so I've been buying some of those, but like since I'm not sure what they do or how they work, I haven't really been using them. And then I'm also getting a lot of like chaos scrolls, which I don't know what they do or if I should be using them. Do you guys have chaos scrolls?
Well, I used to play. So Chaos Scrolls randomly reroll all of the stats on your item that can be manipulated anywhere from -5 to +5 to or 0.
Okay, so it's just like it's like a powerful rebirth, but like random.
Yeah, but it can also minus, so it's a very high risk. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I haven't been using any of them because like I read it. It's like good for better or worse, and I was just like, I don't even want to know.
Yeah.
Okay, but like maybe look into like the specific scrolls for upgrading my rings?
Yeah, so with that, because you have different scrolls of upgrading and different sources of upgrading, and you have bonus potential, one thing that you have to take into account with that is that can mean that the value of like your flame score and everything can be off for non-reboot as well, because the flame score basically looks at, once everything is settled in this stage of the game, what is the total amount of stat you roughly have, total amount of percentage stat, total amount of attack, and total amount of percentage attack, and how do those compare to each other? And because of that comparison that they have to each other, what does that mean for the value of attack and of percentage stat compared to just flat stat? Because that's what the flame score tries to do, right? It tries to redirect everything into what if it was all flat stat, and how much flat stat would it roughly be? But because those numbers are different, it can be off by a bit. And also the value of the flame score that you're trying to go for might also be different. But that would be something specific that if someone plays on non-reboot can tell you that, oh, we aim for higher on this, we aim for lower on this. All stat is more important, or weapon attack is actually pretty important. I would assume that all stat would be more important, because I know that one of the things that I think is really good is prime scrolls, which gives you like plus 10 all stat, I think. And if you get that on a lot of items, you'll have way more flat stat, and therefore percentage stat would scale higher, I think. But that's like an assumption that I'm making right now.
Okay. I'll try and like just search YouTube for like proper guides. I haven't joined a guild or anything yet. I'm in like a Discord, and so far like any questions I've had, like really superficial, people have been able to answer. So
that's nice.
Yeah, eventually I'll look into like finding a guild, or like finding like a Discord to like maybe help me with some of that more specific stuff.
Yeah, I think also there's some equip that is like fine for you to be upgrading and to be working on, and there's probably some stuff that is just better to save up for a long time, and then just buy like a really well upgraded thing, where maybe everything is done except for the potential, and then you only worry about the potential part or something like that, or everything is done except for the star forcing, and then you just do the star forcing part, something like that. Because I know when it comes to hearts, for example, there's like 140 attack hearts or weird shit like that. They're just like floating around, and then that makes your 8 attack heart look like total shit, you know, because of the level and because of the lower tier of potential, because of the lower amount of star force and the lower stats on it, because you have lower amount of slots. Yeah, there's some crazy items. Like there's an android heart combo that basically works as a safety charm, as a map respawn, and as a buff freezer, and that has like 120 attack, I think, and like 80 all stat on the heart. Yeah,
there's something called a fairy heart.
That's also
there's something called a titanium heart that I'm seeing on the auction house. But they're like 600 mil, or like, well, if they have good stats, they're like a couple bill. So yeah.
Yeah, so some people might give you more advice on that specifically, to be like, well, this type of equip, you could just ignore that until you get, until you start making a lot of money, and then you just save up for that and just buy that instead. Like, don't worry about upgrading that yourself, something like that,
I also know that there are events, like especially for my totems. Like I'm hoping there's a Halloween event, because
I hope so.
What I see people use is like the Halloween totems, and so we're coming up on Halloween. So like fingers crossed that happens, and I can. Well, I also heard it's RNG, like if you actually get them, but at the very least, maybe it'll drive the price down, or I can get my hands on.
They should be at least in Reboot, they're all untradeable.
Oh, okay.
So it's per equip. You have to get them on the character itself. You can check. It's called Dark Lords. I'll put the link in the chat. That's so I have a video. That first YouTube video link is a video on how you can do it on multiple characters. That's probably more important for Reboot, where we're like trying to fund a whole legion of 40 plus characters. But yeah, you gotta gather gotta gather NX items. Well, so you get quest items, you empower them by doing the quest, and then you get NX items that last for 24 hours that you can wear for damage, or you, if you have them all in your inventory, it'll give you the completion for the items that you have to, basically are like chests, and then you open them, and then those have a random totem in them. So you can do 10 per day per character. But since they're NX items, those are transferable through your storage to characters that share NX. So you can just switch into another character and then have them on there, and then immediately it'll complete the quest there as well, and you can immediately open the dark racks there as well. And because they last 24 hours, you can also use them just before reset and then right after reset again before they expire. So you can basically, if you have seven characters that share a cash up inventory, if you do it on one character, you can basically do it 14 times.
Yeah, so that's kind of unfortunate, right? Because Kinesis is unique.
Kinesis is completely unique there, so it'll be just for you. But you can still do it, you know, if you make sure that you complete it in time, you can, or not. So what would be a bad idea is to do it right after reset, right? Because then the next day you would have to do it again because they might expire before you get to time to clicking everything. So it's better to do it like somewhere in the middle of the day so that you can do it then, and then have the whole morning the next day to do it again, and then you only have to do it every other day.
So kind of like link it in like 2 day, like link every 2 days, with it close to the reset on either side of it.
Yeah, if you're completing it around reset, make sure you always do it before reset, not right after. That would be bad.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're also hoping that comes. Wait. So we were going through the quests, right? Let me see if there's anything else there. It's because some things are important for us in Reboot because they're not tradable, so you have to earn it on your character itself. But yeah, like with Commercy, like you already have the pieces, so apparently it's not that important to get it, right? But I would unlock the Gollux one, just so you can start checking out that boss, and I don't know to which extent it's reasonable to earn the items yourself in the shop though. But
yeah, the boss ones are important just for the crystals, I think.
Yeah. Well, Gollux doesn't have a crystal, but pretty much all of the other ones do, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Gollux doesn't exist in KMS, and only some of the bosses actually got crystals. They gave one to Ranmaru recently, though, but, you know.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, there's other stuff that we all need for pre-quest stuff, but Reverse City is a good area to train in. So doing that pre-quest, and if you complete it, you get 20 symbol selector coupons as well. So we'll get into Arcane Power, I guess, with that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I was looking at Reverse City as well, but it's also like double my current Arcane Power.
Yeah. So for Arcane Power, well, I'm on a bad character now because it isn't even level 200. But if you open up your equip inventory and then you have Arcane on the bottom right, the symbols. What do you have visible there on the right side?
I just have the one that the initial quest gave me. It's just the arcane symbol plus 30 plus 300 intelligence.
So does it have like the teardrop in it? Or is it just just blue?
I can send you a image, but it looks pretty. It looks like it's just blue. It's like there's nothing.
Yeah, okay. So that means you haven't done the pre-quest yet. So once you complete the pre-quest, it turns into you get your actual full symbol, which has like a teardrop, like a blue teardrop in it. Okay. And then when you kill monsters in the area, you have a low chance of them dropping them. But that's not really what you want to bank on. What you want to bank on is getting them from the daily quest. So you're going to get 5 quests every day. Yeah. And these are important to do because you're basically time gated on how many of these you can get reliably per day. And that's going to stop you from going to the higher level areas, pretty much.
Yeah.
So you have kill and gather quests that will just randomly give you kill 200 of these monster or gather 20 of these drops. With some that are hand-in quests, there's also... hang on, let me open the world map. So there's just kill 200 of a monster, or there is get 20... No, is it 20? No, 50. 50 of the samples of the monster. And then there's also inhibitors. And those have to be handed in a specific map. So there are Oblivion inhibitors. So there's like Oblivion, and then there's, Extinction, and then Repose, right? Those are like 3 little sub areas in Vanishing Journey. But you'll get through all of that once you do the whole quest line, basically. But yeah, it's not like a quest, like a story, like side character things. But that's like the main story, so that you have to complete that, get the symbol, and then when you're 210, you go to the final part of the story, and then you can go into the next area, into Choo-Choo. And there you can get another symbol, get more dailies. That'll help you speed up the dailies of the previous area, and help you get more symbol income. And then once you get to 220, you can go to the next area, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
And then after a while, once you get to 235, you have unlocked all the areas. You can do dailies in all the areas. The first 2 or 3 areas will have very fast dailies because they'll be completely sped up by the later areas. And if you go through all of that, you're going to be getting like 60 or 70 symbols a day, but divided over all of the different types. And then as you get all the levels up, so for every level, you get 100 more stat and 10 more arcane power. And for every new symbol, you'll get 300 stat and 30 more arcane power.
Okay.
So power leveling is good in that sense because you'll get to a new area with a new symbol, which will give you that little boost of 30. But the downside, of course, is if you go too quickly, you'll miss out on the bonus of the maps, and you'll need more arcane power to be able to keep up. So the way that arcane power works in general is that if you're below the requirement of the map, you'll just take more damage and deal less damage, right? You'll have more trouble killing. Mm-hmm. And then just if you're at the amount, you'll take normal damage and deal normal damage, and those little purple shields that show up around the monsters will disappear. And then there's bonus final damage once you are 10% over, 30% over, and 50% over the requirement of the map. So on lower level maps, that's not a big deal. If you go from 60 to 90, that's only 30 extra. That's easy. But the higher level areas will have like 600 requirements. So going over by 50% will mean that you need 900, which is a lot extra. And what also happens when you're 50% over is all the monsters just only deal 1 damage to you anymore. So you'll basically only have to look at your HP if there's elites or... that's basically only elites and AFK mobs, so yeah.
I've died like 4 times, just because I zoned out, Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and until you get your arcane power up, that's actually quite normal. So those kill quests, those are like your main priority to make sure that you can keep leveling to the new area. So that's why I also mentioned Reverse City. If you finish the storyline there, that also gives you 20 selector coupons, which are basically like symbols, but you can choose which one you get once you open them. So to level up your symbol, basically if you do your dailies, you'll just get more of the symbols that you already have, and you just double click them on your inventory, and they'll like fuse together with the one that you have equipped until you hit 100% of the requirement to level up, which at level 1 is only 12, right? So you're at 1 out of 12. Well, I guess even the training one should have 1 out of 12. But just 1 day of dailies will already get you to level 2. And then you have to pay a fee every time to level it up, and it gets, you need more symbols to level it up every time, and it costs more every time you level it up.
Okay, so I will be leveling up this specific starter one that I've gotten.
No, so this one will, if you finish the pre-quest, it'll get replaced by the one with the teardrop in it, and then you'll get access to the dailies, and then that one will start getting leveled up. Yeah.
Okay, so and then another thing related to that is I got these things from the 5th job quests, like the Arcane Stone of the Maple World, Grandis, and Tenerum. Are those something that I need to do something with?
You can just if you haven't done it yet, you can just double click them and just click yes, and you'll get a little meter in your screen, and then the first 500 million experience you get will just get doubled up in there, and then when it's completely full or the meter is gone off your screen, you can open up the next one and it'll turn into a potion, and if you double click the potion, you get another 500 million experience from that.
Okay, so it's just extra experience while killing monsters. Okay.
Yeah, in form of a potion that you can use afterwards, yeah.
And then
one thing is
these
though
nodestone things.
Yes, well. Yeah, so for the symbols first, so you have the kill quest, right? The kill kill 200 or get 50 samples, or you have the inhibitors. So if you have the inhibitors, you have to if you have the Lake Oblivion inhibitors, you have to hand them in here in this map. There's going to be like an NPC where you can hand them in.
Okay.
And if you have the extinction ones, you need to hand them in here where the blazing are.
Okay.
And if you have the repose ones, you have to hand them in here below the cave, this map.
Okay.
So those are the 3 maps where you'll have to, so you don't go running through the whole area trying to look where the NPC is.
Okay.
And then the other daily quest that you have is Urda Spectrum, which is like a little bit of a mini game, which you can do with up to 3 people.
Okay.
So you'll get up to 8 symbols a day from the Kill and Gather, and then up to 6 a day from a Spectrum. So a total of 14. So after the first 2 days, that will almost be enough to get you to level 3 already.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, that'll be really fast. And once you complete the storyline and you go here to this last map, Damp Falls, and you jump in, you'll end up going through the river here and ending up at Choo Choo, where you can also do the pre-quest.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, and then here you can get, you'll basically get taken through the whole storyline as well, go through all the monsters, kill a little bit of everything, yada yada yada. And then you can get your symbol, and then you'll have 2 dailies as well. One is another Kill and Gather quest in the main map with an NPC that's there, Master Lick, I think his name is. Yeah, Master Lick, this guy, Anteater. And then there's NPCs here. This little lady here, Simia, which will have what's called either Hard Muto or Muto PQ. I don't know if you've seen people mention that. I have a guide specifically for that under !Choo Choo or !Hard Muto in the chat as well. Basically, you got to go kill the monsters that you got to know in the island, and you kill them for drops, and then you gather the drops to make a big sandwich out of it, and then you feed the guy who's fighting on your team, and if you can help him win, you get him the symbol. So you got to try to complete it within 5 minutes on the hardest difficulty that you can, and then you'll get symbols every day from that. So you can get up to 15 a day from that, and then up to 4 a day from your kill quest. So that's up to 19 a day from that, which is that's going to really jumpstart your arcane power between those two.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I should be able to just like breeze through those quests then, right? Because
yeah, once you breathe through the first one and you do like your dailies even one time, you get a decent amount of arcane power. Once you join a guild, you're up to gain extra. You can gain up to 30 arcane power from that as well, because there's a guild skill that's pretty easily gotten that gives you that.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Yeah, and you can also put your hyperstats into arcane power, but we'll get into hyperstats in a little bit.
Okay.
Because it should already work. Hyperstats should already work if you have at least a training symbol, which you have now. So you were talking about the matrix now, right?
Yeah, so I have these nodestone things.
Yeah.
Right, and then I put them in the matrix. And I've seen somewhere that there's optimal ones for like a Kinesis to have, but it's only like 3. The matrix has like 20 slots or something.
Yeah.
So is it just like it doesn't matter what the other ones are, or?
Yeah. So how can we? Let's get Kinesis. Kinesis out of here. So 2 trios. Okay, so basics on the matrix. So matrix has 3 types of nodes. You have boost nodes, skill nodes, and special nodes. Special nodes are the purple ones. They're mostly useless, and you typically just extract them for the shards, so you can create nodes that you do want with those shards. The skill nodes give you access to a skill that you don't have already. So that can be class-specific skills. That can be mage-specific skills. That can be what are you even? Are you resistance? What do you fall under?
I think I'm my own thing. It's called like story time, just like or story friends or friends story.
Oh yeah, friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you have any specific friend story skills. I'm not 100% sure. Or are decent skills, right? So like decent sharp eyes, decent hyper body, decent speed infusion, that kind of stuff. And then the boost nodes are the gray ones, and those empower your attacking skills of previous jobs 1 through 4. So most of the time, there's a lot of value in unlocking a new skill node, right? Specifically, your 3/5 job skills are typically very strong. Some of them are not useful in every scenario, so sometimes classes will not use them when they're bossing, but only when they're mobbing, or vice versa. But your boost nodes are pretty much always useful, because those boost your skills that you have 100% uptime, or at least high uptime on, and your main attacking skills from your 3rd and 4th job that you might be using, and can empower those. So in the beginning, the value is mostly in just unlocking your 3 big skills, and then there are some other things that can have good value, like let's say decent holy symbol, which can give you more experience and can give you more drop rate. So that's nice because that allows you to also get more nodes when you're training, so that you can level the other stuff up. And the other thing is decent sharp eyes for extra critical rate and critical damage. That's typically very useful because a lot of classes don't hit that 100% critical rate very easily. And getting 100% crit rate is something that's very important in general in the game, because that allows you to always have your critical damage apply, and that just improves your baseline of your damage. It's more reliable to like keep one-shotting if you always hit a crit, right? If you had 50% crit, then half the time you could be one-shotting and half the time you could be two-shotting, which is a little bit silly for your rotations and stuff.
I think I have something that's specific to Kinesis that the more I hit, my crit rate like slowly ramps up or something.
That's possible. Yeah, I don't know the exact ins and outs of all the classes.
But
I know that
I think I have
Hayato
something
has
like that, and I just have to check how much the max value I get out of that is, so that because there's no reason to go over 100% crit rate, right?
Is that not for you? No, for archers there might be, because they have a skill that allows them to transfer. They can go over 100% crit rate for a short time, and then it transfers a percentage of their total crit into critical damage for their burst. So for archers, it can actually be really good. But for all the other classes, no, 100 is where you want to be at. It's possible. Is it possible that it's like a hyper skill or a temporary buff that you have that gives you critical rate?
I can check really quickly. I thought it was like one of my big, like, as I've like leveled up, I've been reading my skills, but I haven't like gone back and like read them.
Yeah, that's kind of the downside, I feel, of how quickly you can progress in the game now, is that you sometimes get to like level 215 and you don't even know how your character works. I have that all the time.
Yeah.
Because I have a 210 Kinesis as well, and I don't know.
Yeah, I might be wrong, but I'll just check. Either way,
because I think Hayato has it, and I know Aaron has something like that where they get more critical rate.
Oh yeah. So it's called Critical Rush. Oh no, this isn't. Okay, so Critical Rush is just bringing the lower end of my range to the higher end, closer to the higher end.
Oh, so it's like mastery?
Yeah, so it says the gap between minimum and maximum damage decreases a fixed amount every time you get 30 combo kills. I have that one. And then I have
damage.
I might be wrong. I thought there was one that like ramps up the more I hit, but maybe I was thinking about this one, which is not ramping up my crit, but it's just bringing my range, the lower end of my range up.
Yeah, that's possible, because I don't see. Let me get your final damage on your mind break. I don't know if you use that a lot.
I don't know the names. Mind break. Oh yeah, mind break is the. Yeah, I use that one off cooldown usually when I'm bossing, just because it's just extra damage.
Yep. I think it ticks, like, it gives you 5 stacks on a boss, I think? Yeah, boss count says 5, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you have anything that gives you, like, ramping of crit rate. I don't know. I think most of it seems passive.
Okay. Yeah, okay, then, yeah, because I'm kind of juggling, right? Like, crit rate with IED, and then boss damage, right?
Yeah.
To like find, because there's like probably a good balance for my level, and like at end game it's probably more straightforward. But like for right now, like because I kind of distributed my skill points kind of just like into damage, just to get my range up so that I'm mobbing easier, especially when I'm just trying to train for right now.
Talk about hyper skills now, right?
Yeah, it only costs a couple mesas, right, to just reset it. So like I guess.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Yeah.
I guess yeah, that's something I don't know. Like if I just redistribute some of the damage or intellect points into boss damage, if that would help me with maybe some of the bosses that I'm struggling with right now.
Yeah, it would. But I want to finish the part of the matrix first, so we have that taken care of, and then we can move on to the next that thing. Okay.
Okay.
So with the matrix, so special nodes are like their own special thing. You can sometimes craft them. They last for 1 week and then they disappear. You can disassemble them right before they disappear, so you can recuperate some of those shards. But typically,
So how do you disassemble? You bring it to an NPC?
yeah. So there's an NPC called the Node Master.
Okay.
So it's that lion guy that I showed you in Choo Choo, and it's also one guy in Vanishing Journey who's just standing off to the left. He's one of those Urda guys who's got like a hoodie on and he's got like antlers and shit.
Are they the same in terms of value?
Yeah, they do the same thing. Yeah, it doesn't matter
okay.
which node master you go to. There's also one in Morass later on, and yeah.
Okay.
But they basically give you kind of the same screen of the V Matrix, but you get to do other things in that UI. And yeah, it's always been a little bit of a puzzle to me why there's two of those. But you can do two different sets of things. So in your regular V Matrix, if you open it, you can like choose which ones you equip.
Yeah.
And you can also do slot enhancement, which is what we'll get into now. So once you get the nodes and everything, so there's disassembling. I'll walk to the node master dude. So there's disassembling, and then there's enhancing, and then there's crafting. Let me get to move there. So to disassemble, you want to disassemble the ones that you don't need.
Yeah. So I have something called Decent Mystic Door, which I don't think. Well, I also have this like just
you'll never need that
as a bonus potential. So like I definitely don't need it.
Oh yeah, you have it on your hat, yeah, with like 7% intellect.
So, just to make sure I don't accidentally like disassemble one of the others, right? I just like click on this and then click disassemble.
Yeah, right click. What is it called?
And I get 40 node shards.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I got 40 node shards for it.
Yeah, so you see the UI is like a little bit different than what you have on screen, right? So there's like two.
Yeah, it doesn't have all the blocks.
Yeah, so if you want to level up, so what is it? Enhance? Yeah, enhance, disassemble, or craft. You need to go to a node master, and if you want to choose which ones you have equipped, or enhance your slots, then you need to press like the matrix in your skill tab itself. So now you learn what disassemble is, right? The other nodes you will disassemble is so other skill nodes that you don't need at all, which will probably be like decent holy symbol. Not decent holy, decent hyperbody. I mean, decent advanced blessing. Probably blink. What else is there?
So are the ones that I craft permanent? Like if I go here to crafting and then I click like decent sharp eyes and I craft that, is it like permanent?
Yeah. If it's so, the only ones who are temporary are the special nodes.
Oh, okay.
The purple ones. All the other ones are permanent. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can actually see I have a decent sharp eyes, right?
Right. Okay. So, and so it looks like I can craft.
So I have a decent holy symbol here.
Is there a logic to what I can craft and what I can't craft, or?
Well, they cost different shards. So it's a boost node will cost 70, I think, and then a skill node I think is 140, and then a special node is 250.
Okay.
And that's why you also get more from them when you disassemble different types. So you get 10 from a special boost node, and then 40 from a skill node, and 50 from a special node.
And enhancing is like leveling them up, right?
Yeah, so we'll get to enhancing now. So if you right click and enhance, with skill nodes it's pretty straightforward. It has to be just the exact same skill, and then if you have another one, you can level up your existing one.
Okay, so it says I lack the necessary nodes. Do you need that exact node, or is it just node? Okay.
Yeah, if you open nodes, or if you go to node crafting, and then you find your node there, and you click craft, and you have enough shards, then you can make it. And then once you've made it, you can go back to view my nodes, and it'll show up here. And it'll have like one of those shiny borders around it because it's a new one, whatever. And then you can right-click your original, click enhance, and then it'll show up as a material to be able to enhance your existing node.
Okay, cool. And
so in the beginning, you don't really want to make skill nodes and enhance skill nodes, but you want to focus more on the boost nodes, because the boost nodes are the ones that empower your skills that you have all the time, and your skill nodes are typically have like long cooldowns and are more burst oriented.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And most of them only just go just give you more damage for the already huge hit that they do. There's a few exceptions where skills either get more uptime or lower cooldown, or hit more targets or something like that. Or like we talked about the archer skill, Vicious Shot. If you level that one up, it gives you a higher percentage of critical rate that gets transferred into critical damage. That would also be one that is a slightly higher priority, but it's still only a higher priority within your skill nodes. It's still a lower priority than your boost nodes. So that's why when you looked at the matrix command, or when you looked up like which skills do I boost, you saw like those tri-nodes for the boost nodes, right?
Right, yeah, like it had the 3 skill nodes and the 3 boost nodes that it had as priority, right?
Yeah, so when you enhance and you like right click, you get enough experience, you go up to the next level. For the skill nodes, just the percentage damage goes up most of the time, like I said. For the boost nodes, you'll probably see that the skills you're trying to boost, most of them will be 4th job skills. Some of them might be 3rd job, I think. But so typically for 4th job skills, it gives you 2% final damage on that skill per level. And every single skill node, boost node can go up to level 25.
Okay.
And the total amount of boost levels that you can give to a skill through boost nodes is 60. So you might think like, okay, 25, 60, so that means that you have to have every skill on like 3 boost nodes. Well, there's another way that you can enhance, and that's through something that you haven't used yet. And for that, you have to temporarily close this one and go into the other screen for your matrix, because there you will see matrix points that you have 10 of.
I
Do you see them?
10.
Yeah. So
10.
matrix. So what we just looked at is how you can enhance the skill nodes themselves and the boost nodes themselves, but you can also, through leveling up, enhance your matrix itself. So if you click slot enhancement, then you can see on the left side, you can see what level all your slots are, and they're all level 0. What you can do is you can click on any slot that you want. Doesn't really matter, because you can drag around your skills freely anyway, as long as they're off cooldown. And you can level it up to level 5. So you have 10 points because you level 10 times past level 200. So you can level up 2 individual slots to level 5. So it looks like the same as my guy, where you have like, and you see the border change. So it would be like a golden border around it.
Okay, 5's the max?
Yeah, per slot 5 is the max. So remember, skills, the nodes go up to 25, the slot goes up to 5, together that's 30, 2 nodes together is that 60, that max. So if you have, that's why they call it a trio. So when you have those, well, that's not why they call it a trio. They call it a trio because it has 3 boost nodes, but they call it, you want 2 of those trios so that you can max out all the skills in the trio. So you have to get the same skills in different order, because you can only equip the top skill. Well, we'll get into the notes in a little bit. So 2 ways to level up, right? Through the matrix. So every single time you level up now, you'll get 1 point, so you can just put them into your matrix and level it up. And then once you get high levels on the boost nodes, and leveling up boost nodes gets a little bit less efficient, right? Because also, like everything, the higher you go, the more experience you need to get to the next level. Maybe you could start working on the skill nodes a little bit as well. But it'll depend on how many nodes you open up, and if you find a lot of them already in opening. So the main thing is going to be to look at the tri-nodes that you want. So for Kinesis, you're still with me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so for Kinesis, these are the 2 tri-nodes you want. So that means 2 sets of 3 skills. You want them all to 60 eventually. So your boost nodes will occupy 4 slots. And then to go back to your question from before, like what do you do with all the other slots? All the other slots are going to be skill nodes for you, for Kinesis. They're going to be skill nodes for mages, are going to be decent skills, all of these things together. And those are eventually just going to fill up pretty much the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So your keyboard is still looking pretty clean now, but it's going to get real full once you get a higher level.
So I'm getting 1 matrix point every level.
Yeah.
So so like by level, like by 250, I'll definitely have 6 to level 5, and those 6 will be the trios.
Well, so you only need 4 trios, right? So everyone's confusing
you
before.
only-
So one trio, so one one boost node has 3 skills in it that it boosts. That's why we call it a trio. Yeah, so I misspoke a little bit earlier. So because every one boost node goes to 25, in a level 5 slot goes up to 30, and the highest you can boost one's individual skill is 60. If you have that skill in 2 different trios, that will get you to the point where you maximize on it, and you can't go further than that once they're both 25. So for every skill, for all of the skills in one trio, you'll want 2 different boost nodes that have the skills in the trio in a different order, so that you can equip both of them at the same time. And you have 2 trios that you want to level, so 2 for each, so 4 boost nodes will be needed for you as a Kinesis.
Okay.
So we'll get to the boost node itself. So when you look at a boost node, you'll see 3 skills on it, right?
Yeah.
And what determines whether you can enhance it and how it counts when you're equipping it is what you see as mentioned as the first skill on the boost node itself as you're reading it. So the one that I have on my screen right now is an ultimate BPM final damage boost node.
Okay.
So that means that if you right click it in the other UI, once you do find your trio, right, that has the 3 skills that you want, that means that all the other boost nodes that you find that start with that same skill, regardless of what they have as their second and third skill, doesn't matter. Once you right-click your beginner that you want to level up, all the other ones that have the same starting skill can be used to level up that boost node that you want to level up.
Okay, so, for example, I already have the Able Train Kinetic combo, which is one of the ones on the list, right? So that one I can already I should already be investing in.
You have the Train Kinetic Combo Mind Break?
It says Able Train Kinetic it's the one right below, it's the first one on the second row. It boosts Kinetic Combo, it boosts Mental Tempest, and it boosts Train Wreck.
Yeah, so you have Mental Tempest in there, right?
Yeah, so this is the one I have, which I think is correct. I just linked it in Discord.
Kinetic Combo, Ultimate Train. Yes, this one has Mental Tempest, but you're looking for Mind Break instead. Is that the same skill? Mind Break is... That's the one with the stacks, isn't it?
So Mind Break refreshes
Mind Break.
my PP, and it's like a map screen wipe, kind of.
No, that's Mental Tempest, right? That's the iframe, I think?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yes, no, don't worry. The skills all sound exactly the same. You'd mix them up for less than that, yeah.
Okay, so wait, so just looking at this thing, right? So my trio number 1 is... So what this is saying is there are 2 boost nodes that I should have, right?
Well, 4, but there's two sets of 3 skills that you should be looking to boost. So 6 skills in total, yeah.
Okay, so the 6 skills that I'm looking to boost are Psychic Grab, BPM, Metal Press, Train Wreck, Kinetic Combo, and Mind Break.
Exactly.
And I can get 4 boost nodes of those in different combinations.
Yes. So what that means is that in the beginning, when you're opening nodes and you get a boost node and it has one of these 6 as the top skill, that means you keep them because either they could be a tri-node if the other ones are also good, or they can become a source to level up your eventual tri-node. So any boost node that you open that doesn't have one of these 6, you can immediately disassemble and get shards for.
Okay.
Then once you do find your 4 tri-nodes, so this kind of depends on how quickly you level. If you level pretty slowly, you'll just aim for the first trio, right? That's why they're ordered, and it's not just here are the 6 skills you want to boost. They're ordered because you're typically kind of hard pressed, metal pressed, if you will, for slots in the matrix. That was a horrible joke. I'm sorry. So you're I totally derailed myself with that horrible dad joke. Okay. Yeah, so because you don't have that many slots, right? But you do get a lot of value out of skill nodes, and you do want to have as many skill nodes as possible in there. So if your boost node is only going to go up to level 2 or 3, that's not really valuable. That shouldn't be taking up a slot, right? A skill node is way more important there to get like full map clear for 20 seconds every 2 minutes. However, if you can get a boost node that's like level 12 in there, well, hold on, level 12, right? 2% per level, that's 24% final damage. That can actually be really, really good. And at that point, so that's why you prefer to go per trio and just get like Psychic Grab, BPM, Metal Press, and then another one that's maybe like Metal Press, Psychic Grab, BPM, right? Because I didn't mention this yet, but so you can only equip one boost node at a time that has the same top skill. You can't have like Psychic Grab, BPM, Metal Press, and then another Psychic Grab, Metal Press, BPM or something. You can't equip those at the same time.
Technically, you could have one that Psychic Grab. You could have one this. You could have 3 of that specific boost node then, right? Like of that trio, because you could have a different one with each of those, but you only want 2. Even though you can have
Yeah. You could have one that starts with Psychic Grab, one that starts with BPM, and one that starts with Metal Press. You could have that. So it would kind of depend. So let's say that you're slowly leveling, you're limited on slots, you want to look for just 2 out of those 3 that start, and then hopefully, and that also have the other 2, and then focus on leveling those up. And then whichever one you don't have as a starting skill, those can also be extracted once you do get them, right? As long as you're set up and have those 2 tries. If you level up more quickly, if you have more room, or if you unlock the extra slots, which you can do, right? You have those little brown locks.
Yeah, it seems kind of expensive.
And it gets way more expensive the higher you go.
It's like 100 mil.
Yeah,
so
it's 100 mil now.
It's
like almost 2 bill, I think, at point. If you're like 265 and you unlock the next one, I think it's 2 or 3 bill or something at that point.
Okay, yeah.
It's pretty brutal.
But basically, like.
But so if you have 2 more slots,
have them all, right? Like once you hit 275, you would have them all.
I think. No, I think you get 1 more. You go to the first one of the second page. You go to 275. See if you hover over
there's
it.
another page. Oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's another page.
Okay, so then is it better to buy it early on, or does it not matter?
So, like I said, it depends. If you have a really good skill node that you can get access to, if you buy it, then that could be worth it. But if you're buying it just to equip like a level 2 boost node, I would say that's not worth it, because there's not enough increase in your damage. So, like I was saying, if you have enough room before the, because you got to open a bunch of nodes, there's a lot of combinations, there's a lot of skills you don't want, right? So it's going to be very hard to find your tri nodes, or as people call them, perfect tri nodes, because it's kind of like finding a gold nugget in the.
And those come from dailies.
So you get so the nodes basically come from events. Typically, they come from doing your kill and gather dailies in Vanishing Journey. If you do that at least twice a week, you get 3 node zones from that, and from killing monsters in the area. So that's why people typically advise to go in the area and to train there, because that's how you get your nodes as well.
Right. Okay. So I cucked myself a little bit.
Yeah. You slowed down. Yeah. You slowed yourself down a little bit with that. Yeah. But you know now, so now you know why people say it. A lot of times people will say things, and if you ask them, you just got to make sure to always ask. If people give you certain advice, just always ask. And if they don't know, then ask them. Then why are you advising it to me if you don't fucking know why?
Yeah, I thought I was being really clever because I did a bunch of math. Like, oh, well, this is gonna be faster. Like, just math-wise.
Yeah, well, it is for a while. So if you drew it on a curve, you're like steeping up, but they're gonna like hockey stick away from you pretty soon. Yeah. You're like doing the linear thing, and they're like doing the parabol. Is that what it is? Like where you go down a little bit and then you like hockey stick up. Yeah, they're gonna like, parabola. Yeah, I don't know like maths in English. I don't know because I didn't have that in English. So yeah, I have no clue on how. It was close enough though. Close enough.
Yeah.
So if you do have more slots, you can start going for more options. You could go for, let's say, a train wreck, psychic grab, mind break, and a kinetic combo BPM metal press, and go for a BPM train wreck metal press and a psychic grab mind break kinetic combo, for example. So the more slots you have, the more outs you have, and the more possible combos you get. So it's important that you keep, specifically all 6, right? Start with all 6. You always keep those until you have your perfect tries. And specifically if it has all 3 of those 6 in one, even if they're not specifically all in Trio 1 or all in Trio 2, because if it takes a while for you to get there and you get to level 220 before that point, well, now you have 2 extra slots. Maybe you buy an extra one, get your decent holy symbol in there, but still have an extra slot. And then at that point, you can have all 4 and just start locking in. And it doesn't really matter anymore at that point whether you have them from Trio 1 to Trio 2 or if they're mixed. It's more important for characters who have like 3 trios that they need to do, because that's 6. Because then you want to specifically have like, okay, I need Trio 1 and 3 for bossing, and I need Trio 1 and 2 for mobbing, for example. And then they switch out 2 and 3 depending on what they're doing. And that's more important because that's going to take a long time before you just have enough room to just throw like 6 nodes in there.
So the blue ones, the skill ones,
yep.
I'm not going to get any more Kinesis specific ones. Those are the only like 3 like Kinesis specific ones. The rest are going to be like
for now,
like
this
magician
winter,
or all job or something.
For now, yeah, but this winter everyone is getting another specific job.
Okay.
But there will be a quest that you can click, and then you'll just get an extra slot, and you will get the 4th one. Yeah.
Yeah.
For you, it's like a black hole that you create, and everything just gets like sucked in, and then a giant explosion at the end. Yeah.
So those three like Kinesis specific ones, and then if I find a perfect node, those will never be like replaced.
No. Pretty much no. So except for now, yeah.
If I find a tri node with those specific skills on it, I can just like completely like just dump resources into it.
So yes and no. So like I talked about, the more slots you have, the more outs you have, right? Mm-hmm. The sooner you lock in and commit to a specific node, the sooner you limit your outs. Because then you lock in one of this, one of this, one of this, and you reduce your options, right? Okay, so you also want to be careful with that. Because there's 2 more things to this. So there's one thing you can do where, let's say you get something that's 2 out of 3, right? Let's say it starts with where were they again? Like it starts with like your important skills are in Trio 1, right? That's why it's Trio 1. Like let's say it has Psychic Grab in it and it has Metal Press in it, but the 3rd one is just like a shit node. But let's say you have enough Psychic Grab nodes, you could level it up to say level 5 or something, and you can get 10% extra damage on your Psychic Grab. What you could do in a later point, let's say you do find Psychic Grab and then BPM Metal Press, is you can take your level 5 node and use that as a node to enhance the other one, and you transfer all the experience to it. Does that make sense? Because it's still an enhanced node at the end of the day. Does that make sense?
So you can. Is it like it's like similar to Transfer Hammer? So like if I invest in a node, I can like get the resources back by like transferring it to the new node, is what you're saying?
Yeah, so there's 2 ways. So you can disassemble them when they're leveled up and you'll get more shards, but that is not efficient. You will get very, very reduced efficiency compared to how many you put in. Like one would give you 10 points, but if you get like a level 5 that has, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 or 10 boost nodes in it, you won't get 80 or 90 or 100. You'll get way less than that. So if you want to salvage them in some way, best way is to salvage them by using them as boost nodes to another trinode that you open up, to your perfect trinode. That way 100% of the efficiency will be transferred over.
Okay.
So
if
that
just equates to an extra slot, is what you're saying?
To an extra slot. Well, that just means that you can already start going and getting a lot of final damage on your skills. That's maybe more specifically a reboot thing, because we rely on the nodes a lot. And in non-reboot, you could just buy the higher level gear and get a lot of damage from that early on. Yeah. Because some people will still be in pencilier gear in reboot at this point, and you have Abzo stuff, right?
Yeah, so I think I understand.
Yeah.
At the basic.
So if you want to do that, make sure that it doesn't start with a skill that's not in these 6, because then there's no chance that it'll be one of your 4 perfect trinodes eventually, and that means that it's a guarantee that you'll have to extract it, which means it's a guarantee that you'll get reduced efficiency on the stuff. Yeah.
And then is there like is it at the how would I know what the generic what the good generic nodes are, like not Kinesis specific?
Not Kinesis specific. Let's see. We can go Kinesis, fandom, MapleStory. Let's see if we can Google that. Then we go to the Kinesis wiki, and we accept all cookies. Cookies are yummy. And then we go to skills, and then you go to 5th job. Let's see if this is updated. That's always a question. I think it's pretty updated. So Ethereal Form is basically like an iframe. You know what iframes are?
Yeah, so my ult has an iframe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the... Oh god, we talked about
Tempest.
this. Mental Tempest, yes. So that was an iframe. You know how to animation cancel out of Tempest?
No. Like when I click Mental Tempest, I'll like spam Trainwreck while I'm in it, and then like it'll come. The Trainwreck will come as soon as I'm done. But yeah, I guess I don't know.
Do you have the skill Kinetic Jaunt that like makes you fly up?
Yeah.
So if you press Mental Tempest and then Kinetic Jaunt right after, you'll animation cancel out of it.
Okay, let me try.
And then you could just walk while you're in iframe and while the damage is going down.
Wow, okay. Oh yeah, and then you can do... Okay, so that's going... I'm gonna basically be doing more damage then.
Yeah, you can just throw out whatever you want during that time, and you won't be locked in place.
Okay.
So that's a cool little Kinesis trick.
That's really good to know.
And you can use it to get very high in the air as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's... I really like Kinesis, like the mobility, like the iframe, the bind.
It's very...
Like,
it's very unique, I think, in how it moves and... Oh yeah, there's also another thing, like a lot of people, when you do an up jump, so Kinesis has this as well, like if you're moving and then you do an up jump, you just have your forward momentum, right?
Yeah.
But if you look the other way, you lose all your momentum and you go straight up.
Yeah, I thought it was working like... I think if you hold down the arrow key, it also does the same thing. The up arrow.
Yeah, so, but if you're... Yeah, if you keep moving the same way, you have your momentum, right?
Huh.
But if you turn around, then you lose your momentum. Oh, only if you do flash jump first. So you jump, flash jump, and then turn around, and then jump up. And then you'll notice you go straight up in the air. So you can use that to kind of like jump short to make sure that you don't end up in a place that you don't want to go.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So you can use that to even like get more power out of your mobility, and then you can like kinetic jaunt, like be fucking Luke Skywalker and just... My people need me, but that's like a little extra thing that I don't know if a lot of classes. It's basically like the leaf tornado on Mercedes, where you just suddenly stop all your momentum and you like stop in the air, which is kind of weird.
Yeah,
but
I really had so much trouble liking Mercedes, honestly, and a lot of it had to do with like the mobility felt really weird, and then also, I mean, I only leveled it just for the link skill, but like
you did?
The mobility
You're like
felt
the only
weird,
person.
and then all the attacks felt like they only shot straight, like or like
you're gonna love marksman, dude. You're gonna, if you like
Yeah.
only shooting straight, you're gonna love marksman. They got one arrow and it's straight line, doesn't deviate, just straight line. It's great. It's not. It's horrible. So Ethereal Form, iframe. Mana Overload gives you more final damage at the cost of... usually it's more mana cost, but you are not a mana class, so it's going to cost you HP. So it can be a little bit risky in some boss fights to use it. So you might just toggle it on and off whenever it's whenever you're in a situation where you're kind of more safe. But yeah, and then Otherworld Blessing is a giant buff. Basically... gives you a bunch of final damage, and then also gives you a random buff every 4 seconds while it's active. So that can be kind of cool. And then everything else is just decent skills and boost nodes, I think. Oh yeah, so True Arachnid Reflection, you get that at 235. It's like a big AoE explosion and summons a spider eye that just kills monsters near it. It's also very good for your burst.
Oh yeah, I've seen you use that on your arc, I think.
Yeah. All my characters over 235 have it. It's really good. It's like a staple for everyone's burst damage because it just is super strong. It has really good numbers. Urdinova has a bind, so you won't need that because you have your own bind. So you can extract that one.
Those share like an ICD, so...
Yeah. Boss...
Not?
so Boss have a... There's only a few... There's a few things, I think, in Non-Reboot that go over that. There's like one special storyline bind, and then there's the I think it's lucid. Yeah, lucid earrings. Those don't go by the cooldown, but all the other stuff do.
Those are from the marble machine.
Yeah.
I think they cost like 20 bill or something crazy.
Yeah. They're probably something nutty. People really want them to kill the black mage because you just stack them up together to fuck them up. Yeah, so the cooldown is like 90 seconds after the bind ends, and typically, I'm pretty sure your cooldown is short enough that like 10 seconds after the cooldown is over, you can use your bind again, so there's no use in having two of them. And also the cooldown on Urdanova is horrible, and it's a single target projectile bind. It's if you can avoid using it, avoid it at all costs. So yours is like way better.
Okay, and
so Urda Shower you can get rid of. Will of Urda you can get rid of. Urda Shower you can get rid of. Blink you can get rid of. I don't know 100% about Speed Infusion with Kinesis. That's something to specifically ask another Kinesis. Decent Advanced Blessing you can get rid of. Decent Combat Orders you don't get rid of, but you just keep one, right? You don't level it up. If you have more than one, you just extract the other ones. Decent Hyper Body you can get rid of. And Decent Sharp Eyes as well. Just keep one and just get rid of the other ones, because leveling up doesn't really help you at all. And then Decent Mystic Door you can get rid of. Rope Lift, I would just keep one because it might be useful in some situations, but the rest you can get rid of.
Yeah, I find that I never... Because the Kinetic Jaunt is actually on like such a low cooldown that like it like lasts for so long that I don't ever feel like I can't get to a place if I want to get to a place.
Yeah, there's going to be a PQ later for symbols once you get to Arcana and 225 where Rope Lift can be pretty useful.
Okay.
So just having one could be nice. Also, Kinetic Jaunt is a bit ping reliant, because if you see me use it, sometimes it stops after like half a second, and sometimes I literally walk off the map after like an hour of walking, and it's yeah, I don't know. Your ping is probably way better than mine because I'm playing from EU on NA, so it's kind of scuffed. But yeah, as it becomes less reliable.
I just always assumed you were on EU.
Oh yeah, no, I'm where the people are, because trying to be relevant. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
One kind of just like a side note, because I was just thinking about it. IED, there's no point having it above 100%, right?
It's impossible to get it over 100% because it's on a like an asymptotic scale to 100%.
Well, no, so because I have my Deep Impact, I think, gives 20% IED, right? So like I only need to get my stat window IED to 80, right?
No, because so that's not how it works. So
Okay.
IED works multiplicatively with sources depending on missing. So if you have an 80% visual and you add a line of 20%, then you gain 20% of the missing 20%. So you gain 4, so you go to 84 effective.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you never really get to 100. It's like
broken.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's basically like two people standing like opposed to each other, and then you take 20% of the distance to the other person, and the other person takes 20%, and then you never really get to, you never really touch each other, right? You never get to that 100%, unless one skill has one source has specifically mentioned that it ignores 100% of defense, which some skills do have that. But at that point, all the other sources are just negligible because that one source just does 100% by itself. Yeah. So that's why it's important to go for all of the IED you can, specifically on sources that don't get anything else that gives you a lot of damage.
Right.
Yeah.
But if my like when I have my stats window open, if it says 100%, then that means I have 100%. I don't have to worry about anything else. Yeah,
but that's not something you go for, because if you have 100% there, that means that you're both hyper party buffed by a lot of people who have things. And most things that will help you get to something close to 100% will be invisible sources, so that it'll never show that in your stat window. Okay. And you can only really get that if you're probably going... If you do get it in your stat window, that means that you have gone for ID at the expense of other sources of damage, and you're actually doing less damage than you could be doing. There's like an optimal distribution, because the items that get you IED are your weapon, your secondary, and your emblem. And that's where all the attack percentage, magic attack percentage, and boss damage comes from. So you don't want to impede too much onto those lines. Yeah.
Okay.
But there are calculators at all the stages of the game that you can use to kind of maximize, like, what's my final damage increase output on a high defense boss? depending on how much defense the bosses have, of course. In the beginning, they don't have that much damage, but once you get higher, they have 300% defense. So for your example, 80% IED, they have 300% defense. You ignore 80% of 300%, so 240. So that leaves them with 60% defense, which means you get 60% final damage reduction on a 300% PDR boss. PDR stands for percentage damage reduction. That's like their armor, basically. If you have 80%, you deal 60% less damage if you attack them.
Okay.
So there, getting extra IED would be very beneficial, much more than adding like 30% boss damage, for example.
Okay.
Yeah. So it all just depends on throwing it into the calculator, and that's where. Yeah. Okay. But everything past, so Vellum has 200% PDR, and then Helix has 250, and then basically Lotus, Damien, and everything harder has 300%. So that's what most of the calculators and most of the late game and end game stuff that you find will always be just assuming 300% PDR.
Okay. So, but certain things only matter for bossing, right? Like attack speed only really matters for bossing, right? Because when I'm mobbing, like, since I one-shot everything anyways, like, there's no real value in like stuff like attack speed or anything like that.
For some classes, it can be the thing that it matters for bosses because your animations get shorter, right?
Right.
But for mobbing, for some characters, if they don't have their animation shortened, what can happen is they like jump attack, and then when they land, there's still a piece of the animation going off before they can jump again, and they feel like they're kind of stuck to the ground every time they do an attack.
Oh, okay.
And then speeding it up might be just enough to just be like jump attack, jump attack, jump attack, like more organically through the map. Yeah, that could be a difference.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, like, sometimes, like, it feels like my mobbing is, like, pretty, like, just because everything dies so fast, but, like, things also, like, respawn, like, pretty fast sometimes.
Hey, you gotta keep going.
So, like, I never know, like, if I should, like, stay on a platform, kill everything on the platform, then move to the next platform, or if I should just throw a skill and then move, even if there's something still there. If it's just faster, just, like, throw a skill and then just constantly, like, rotate around the map and throwing skills instead of, like, clearing each platform and then moving to another platform.
So one thing that's a factor there is if you have projectiles and if you have summons, and how long the summons last and how far the projectiles reach. That's one thing. So one thing that you could do is just ask other Kinesis what they do. Another thing you could do is do battle analysis. Have you ever done this?
No.
So if you look at your options in the bottom right, there's something called battle analysis, and it gives you the battle analysis window. And in this, it'll give you like a bunch of numbers of like all the skills you use and what percentage of your total damage it is, blah, 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 blah. But basically what it'll let you do, you gotta like click start finish a bunch of times so it makes sure that it registers. It'll just start running time, and it'll check how much money you make and how much experience you make in a certain amount of time. And if you just try different rotations, try different maps, then you can just compare them 1-to-1. Just make sure that, you know, the level of burn is kind of is normal for the map, right? You don't compare like a level 0 burn somewhere after training there for already an hour and depleting it, and then use like a fire starter on another map and start at 100. That's a little bit unfair comparison.
Okay, yeah. I didn't know about that. I think that's really useful because I can try out a different like variations to my skill rotation.
Exactly. You can see if it's significantly different or if it's just like, I like this better, but it's not even, it's like 1% worse or something, but I like it way more and it's way more comfortable for me. Then you just go ahead and do that. And then you'll have the peace of mind that you're not like maybe fucking up your time, you know?
Okay, yeah, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, and you'll use this later as well when you need to test how much damage you're doing for other bosses to make sure that you're like meeting certain requirements to be able to kill, basically. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
That's one of the few like very useful tools that exist in the game.
Okay.
That actually mostly work, so that's nice. So Matrix is clear, and it's important. Oh yeah, so if you get to level 60, that gives you the 120 final damage, right? And remember, if you hit the Arcane Power plus 50%, that also gives you plus 50% final damage. So those are going to be huge in helping you, you know, not need to constantly press on it on upgrade your gear, but that's all going to be invisible. So you're really at the point now where you completely let go of whatever your range shows, because that number doesn't really mean anything anymore. All of the stuff that gives you damage is your critical rate, critical damage, IED, boss damage, arcane power, boost node level, and none of that shows up in your damage range. So that number is just for show at this point.
Because I was kind of looking like what range should I be able to do certain bosses at, and
Yeah.
people were like putting damage ranges in there. You're saying that like that's not really it, just because those are probably outdated methods.
That's outdated, yeah.
Okay.
And so then, I have the other metrics, right? So I use these milestones instead. So what I have is dailies, and I have the progression tab. So dailies just go by what can you do by level.
Oh, yeah.
And then how strong I expect you to be by level to be able to do this is in the progression tab.
Okay, but that's going to be slightly different.
Yeah,
right?
that's going to be slightly different. Yeah.
Because I don't know if this is accurate, but I've read that like the difference between reboot and non-reboot in terms of damage is like a factor of 2 or something, like based on level.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think in the early game, I think it's easier for reboot to be stronger because of the passive skill. And once you get stronger gear, then it's way stronger for non-reboot again. And then the experience multiplier for the mobs comes in hard once you get like past 250 and past 255. And then training becomes easier, so then the leveling. But there's also different final damage multipliers. So we looked at that a little bit in the beginning. At least I looked at that.
So just for example, right? Like the kind of bosses that I'm trying to like progress on right now are kind of like I'm struggling with normal PAP more than I should, and I'm struggling kind of with like easy Cygnus a little bit. Like what like range for like reboot are those bosses around, like easy Cygnus and normal PAP?
Yeah, so if you look at, so I think you can, so I don't go by range, but I think you can go by these metrics, but you'll probably reach those numbers at a lower level, which means that you won't look as much. You can still look at this more as like an indicator of like what is the next boss in the step that you're going towards.
Okay.
But you won't really look at the level range here. You'll look more at like these numbers here. Yeah. In the progression, like to see like, okay, I'm like here, and the last boss I killed was let's see, the last boss I killed was Pink Bean or something. Okay, that means that normal Magnus, a hard Von Leon, those are like the next one on the menu basically. And if you can do those, you can move on to the next one and to the next one, and then you have easy Cygnus here. So you've probably done well. Yeah, hard Remaru is a little bit different because he just dishes out a lot of damage suddenly.
Okay, well, I found hard Remaru like really easy.
Okay.
Like I don't know if
you have some reduced incoming damage, right, with your skill. Maybe that allows you to tank the skill better.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like he like turns right, and then he does all this damage in one direction. But like I think he like animation locks or something because like
he's
in the beginning
bugged
like,
as hell.
That, and I would like just go on the other side of him and just like hit him, and then.
Yeah,
like,
some people can't
like,
do that, like just go on the other side of him, because they'll have to pass through him, and sometimes he does like 18k touch damage or something.
Oh, okay, yeah. I
can
just like jump over him.
Yeah, if you could jump over him, that's fine, yeah. Yeah, that's the way to do it for sure, yeah.
And then when I binded him, I got like 3 bars in a bind.
Yeah. And then you have your iframe as an escape button, maybe even. And then now you know how the animation cancel out of it, so you can just keep attacking during that as well. So yeah, that should...
Also, the other weird thing is like he does the tornado things, but like he does them on the edges of the map.
Yeah.
So like they're not really like, they don't really like come close to hitting me ever. So
no, but what happens when you die?
Weird. Huh?
What happens when you die?
And then if you die, then you're gonna pop on one of them.
Yep, and then you can be just locked. Yeah.
Okay.
And the tornadoes, the tornadoes are actually not from Remaru. They're from the little guys in the middle. They conjure them. So if you kill those little guys, those tornadoes also disappear.
Yeah. Well, when I was like lower progressed, and I tried to do it, I tried to kill those guys, but like I just couldn't kill them like fast enough or something. So I was just like, I'm just gonna ignore them, and then I'm just gonna try and burst the boss because
typically when you kill him,
weird mechanic.
Typically when you kill him, they also die, and then the things disappear. But sometimes it bugs out, and they stay alive, and then you still have to go up there and kill them. Otherwise, you can't even leave the map because it'll just be covered in like fire tornadoes.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
So you can use the general order here.
some bosses have a reflect, right? Like
Yeah, damage
where if you
reflect.
hit them,
Yeah, it's an
it
old
like
mechanic that shouldn't be in the game anymore. It's so bad.
yeah, I don't know what the tell is. Like I know like that it happens like on like
Um,
Von Leon, and I think it happens sometimes on Cygnus, but like
Cygnus
what
has
is
it.
the visual
So
like that tells
typically
you
the
that?
visual is a purple shield type animation. It's typically has a
Okay.
purple color in it. The best way to see it, if you're bossing, one thing that's important to do if you're just starting with a new boss is to go to your graphics and turn the graphics all the way down.
Okay.
Once you're like used to your skills, you kind of know the hitboxes, you know where you hit and
Yeah.
everything, right? So turn the skill transparency down and go to the damage effects and put it on mini blade effects. That will put all of the numbers, all of the lines of damage, all on one line. So there's a minimal amount of space
Oh,
occupied by
okay.
the
So you can
damage.
see more.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
more of the boss at that point, and then you'll be able to see their animation more, see what they're doing.
Okay.
Specifically for
That
Cygnus, it's very, it's
yeah,
important.
because
Her
the
DR is
ads
hard.
like there's so many ads like
Yeah,
so you when you hit them you're just screen. It's like I can't see anything
no,
because of these
exactly. It's
ads.
just numbers. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
yeah.
Cool.
That can help you out to see it a bit more. Yeah, what you did. Oh wait, so who DRs like the middle statue in Ping Bean DRs, Ping Bean himself DRs, right? And that's very typical, like a purple animation of like a mini Ping Bean over his head with like, yeah, they're like jagged edged lines around him. Like it looks like a little bit of a brutal skill, like something important is gonna happen, and
Yeah.
that's when you know like you gotta stop attacking. Hardhilla has it. Um, and then in Chaos Ping Bean, even the two middle statues can also have it.
Okay.
But I think, and then Horntail can kind of have it.
Yeah.
And then the only one after
Chaos.
that is Chaos
Yeah.
Crimson Queen. Also has a big reflect, but she gets a giant red shield around her. So if you hit her during that, it's kind of on you because that one's very obvious.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Crimson Queen's kind of funny because like sometimes like I'll just get hit by her like blind and I'll just like go stand next to her and just like tank like her touch damage because I don't want to like die to her flame breath.
Oh yeah, yeah, because you're like timing it properly. Do you ever get caged
Yeah,
by
because
her?
well, her blind, like her swipe that blinds you, right?
Oh, the
Like
queen one.
I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like the
Sorry. Yeah.
hitbox is so weird.
Yeah, just a lot of hitboxes don't communicate with the sprite of the attack. So you just kind of have to know how far it hits.
Yeah, that one's specific. It's weird because on Crimson Queen, sometimes I think I'm like far enough away that it shouldn't hit me and it hits me.
Yep.
But then on like Vellum, sometimes I feel like I'm standing directly on one of his circles and it doesn't hit me. Like
Yeah.
like when he pops up and like I'll literally just be standing there, especially when he does like his whole body kind of goes from one circle into another. He like tunnels out.
Oh
Like that
yeah,
one
yeah.
specifically like never like hits me even if I'm like right on top of it.
Okay, that's weird. It should be hitting you. Are you sure you're not using your iframe or something? Because that should be killing you if that hits you.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, like it maybe it is hitting me and it's just like not knocking me back or anything, and I just like don't notice it.
Interesting. Well, I wouldn't like tempt fate too much on that. The
Yeah.
one thing
Well,
is though, like
I'm
in the
still
beginning
I still haven't done
when you spawn him in the
chaos.
beginning, he will like shoot up in the beginning. That one doesn't hit you, but then after that, it should start being able to hit you.
Yeah, I realized that one's like just like a show animation because
Yeah.
I kept trying to iframe
Yeah,
or not iframe.
bind
I kept
it.
trying to bind
Yeah,
him,
yeah, yeah. Your
right,
bind
as he,
just
like,
completely.
came up,
Yeah, he's not
and
targetable. Yeah,
I
yeah.
was just like, oh, what the fuck?
A
Like,
bunch
my
of bosses
bot-
have that. Yeah, yeah. Von Bon has that as well. He like shows up in the beginning and then he disappears and then he comes back again. That you can
Yeah,
whiff your
yeah.
bind on that as well. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You want to
Um,
be really careful. Because
yeah, but I haven't
binds don't
tried
grow
the
on trees.
chaos versions of any of those fights yet. So like,
Well, you can
I
go down
haven't
the list,
really.
right? So you're like at normal. What were we doing? Normal pop and normal Cygnus. Yeah. So on the list, you see these are pretty close, right? You got normal Cygnus, normal arc,
Yeah.
and then normal pop, and then CRA basically. Yeah. So those are like in the same group.
Yeah.
So you're like
'Cause,
at that point, yeah. Well, it says 200
I
to 209
cleared
here.
hard.
That's where you are. So.
Yeah, I cleared hard Ranmaru and hard Von Leon, and then everything below those guys.
Yeah. Oh no, easy
But,
Cygnus.
yeah.
Oh yeah, normal Cygnus. Sorry, yeah. So easy Cygnus and then normal Cygnus. Yeah, easy sickness, then normal sickness after that, then normal, and then normal arc. I guess it. Yeah, maybe normal sickness should be a little bit lower. I don't know. Maybe like after normal pop, but they're like at the same level range, I think. You know, it's not an exact science. It's just like a general indication. Yeah.
Yeah, because some mechanics are harder for different classes, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Some classes you'll just be doing. Yeah, for example, like Hard Magnus is a very good example. For some people, if you have some kind of knockback resistance in your kit, he's pretty straightforward. You just stay in the middle of the map, make sure you don't get knocked around, just dodge the balls.
I hate Magnus because he dashes around so much, and I try to put my my psychic drain or the my kinetic crash on him, and then he'll just like go out of it, and it's just like frustrating boss.
Yep. For sure. Or you throw something at him, but then he dashes away, or you have to jump away, and then you're outside of the blue, and then you only deal 10% of your damage. So all of the DPS is lost.
Because it like just goes, and it's gonna be a lot of damage if he stays on it, but then he doesn't.
Yeah. Well, you want to combine that with your bind as much as possible, right?
Yeah. It's usually when I bind, I do a train wreck, and I can do like 5 or 6 metal presses.
Yep.
And depending on if I have the psychic drain on, I can turn on the little triangle thing, the BPM.
The BPM, yeah.
And do a lot of damage there. But like it really sometimes I'm not sure, like, because the animation specifically for the one that gives me like IED, the deep impact, it like takes a lot of time, and sometimes I feel like it's just like wasted damage time. Like, so if I don't land a good one before I can bind, then it's like it's better just to not do it, especially now after what you told me, that it's not literally 20%.
What is deep impact?
Deep impact, I think it's one of the skills with gold around it. It's
one.
It's in 5. It's like the second one on 5.
Oh shit, yeah. Oh, I've never. Okay.
Yeah, but it's one that levels up. I don't know if this is a thing with most classes, because I wasn't really paying attention to the other burning classes, because especially like Evan, for example, I did that one in the last 12 hours of burning. Like at first I was like, I'm not gonna do a 6 character, but then I was like, dang, I should do a 6 character, and I did Evan in like 12 hours to 150, and I was just literally clicking his one skill that he got at level like 10 like the entire time.
It does power up. Well, once you start cycling through the other skills, once you get them boosted, they get really good, but before that it gets annoying. But you mean like psychic shot, right? Because that debuffs for 15% defense, right?
Yeah, well, no, deep impact does the
it powers up. Yeah, so you use deep impact and it gives you this effect.
Yeah,
because I can't click it.
You hover over it on your skill bar because it tells you everything.
Yeah, no, I don't even have it on a skill. I didn't even know.
Yeah. But like, yeah, it's good on like if an elite pops up on a mobby map, then I can deep impact and do the up psychic grab. I don't actually know or psychic clutch. I don't know because they're the ones that have like combo things where if you click the different arrow, it does like something different. And I know the up psychic clutch also does something where it like it removes it debuffs the monster or something. So like those are the main 2 things. Like if you do the up psychic clutch, I forget what it's. I don't know how to see what it's called even.
Wait, psychic clutch. Oh, list monster.
So yeah, because when you unlock 5th job, you get down psychic clutch, which is
that one's really good because it's so regular the regular just grab, you just smash him, or you do up and then you basically just throw him through the map. That's kind of what I was talking about with like the range of your missile attacks.
Yeah, but that one also has some sort of debuff on it. Someone else, I may be wrong, but I thought someone told me that early on was that if you do up psychic clutch and then you do deep impact, then you debuff them the amount that you can, and then like they die a lot faster. So if you're doing a burst like on elite mobs that spawn, I'll do like the up psychic clutch and then I'll do the deep impact, and then they die like really fast.
Ultimate psychic shot. Press the up key and psychic grab while lifting a monster, or throw the monster in direction of facing. It doesn't show a number here though.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe there's a wait. Maybe there's No, when doing the smash attack. I was thinking maybe there's a hyper skill or something connected to it. Increases psychic points charge when attacking bosses with psychic grab. Increases the attack power of psychic smash and psychic shot. No. Not sure. But yeah, whenever someone has like a really good tip, always try to like make sure you 100% understand what they're talking about, so that you know for sure that it's not someone who also just heard something from someone else and they're just perpetuating it. Yeah, because then you can get urban legends and you get like, oh, I've been doing this the whole time, and someone's like, well, what the fuck? It doesn't do anything. Like, oh, or maybe they're right? Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think now's a good time that I hit 210, like to just stop and maybe just like go over everything and like come up with what my actual damage rotation is.
You can do the storylines on 2 maps, get your Arcane Power, start your Arcane daily rotation.
Yeah. And
you got a lot stronger from that, dude.
You're gonna get a thing.
Yeah, okay.
But well, I started now because I skipped it to do the pre-quest for Damien.
But you have Abzo gear, so it's not very necessary,
so it doesn't
right?
matter much anymore. Except I was going to like get like a second set just in case, to like maybe like, I don't know, like I thought about it, but also I feel like a second set would be expensive too, but not that expensive, just so in case I boom something, like I can kind of like level them up or upgrade them like simultaneously, I guess.
Oh, it might be Psychic Force? What is this? Enemies knocked back over time 24. Lasts for 20 seconds. The final damage received from Kinesis attack while damage over time is applied is plus 10%. Maybe it's that one.
Yeah, that one sounds right.
Oh my Omicron. Is it this one that he means? Psychic Force and Deep Impact before you start bursting? I think those are your 2 debuffs. And then you use Mind Break to buff yourself up, right? Yeah, so what you were talking about, like the Deep Impact, you still need to use it because it's only 15% ID. So how important that is depends on how much defense the boss has. If it's one of those 200, 250, 300% ones, then it's 100% worth it, right? Because let's say you're at 80, but you're probably higher than 80. So one of the things that's important for you to do is when you look at the numbers in the progression tab and you see the IED there, that's the functional IED. So that's not the visual that you see in your stat window. Just like with range, you can't really go by that number. Why? That's the amount of IED that you will use regardless of what skill you use and regardless of what monster you hit. But bosses can be debuffed and hits can be individually empowered. So that number is almost never the exact number that's being applied, and it's also a rounded number. So if you check !IED instead, you will see a calculator there, and there you can use all of your sources of IED that you have, put them all in, and it'll give you your actual IED number. So in the beginning, it'll fluctuate a little bit depending on what skill you're using, right? If some skills have extra IED values, some don't. But if you're going to be bossing and you're always going to use the debuff on the boss, then you can add that number as your effective IED because you're always going to hit the boss with an extra IED boost on you, right? But it's never going to show in your stat window.
Ambition level 100. That seems insane.
It's not as crazy as you'll... Once you start bossing, it actually levels up pretty quickly. I think I have that on... I think this guy might... What is my ambition level on my Kinesis that I don't really play? This one is level 42. So even if you... Yeah, like 100 might take a bit, but like this one's already at 42, so that's already 4% IED there. It's not that bad. Yeah, so once you add all that up, that number, that's the important number. But so to go back to your question previously really quick, like the 15%, is it worth it? Let's say it's a 300% defense boss, right? And you have the 80%, like let's say that your actual number, it's probably a bit higher. You had 60% final damage reduction, right? So you only deal 40% of your damage. Now let's say we add a 15%. 15% of the 20% that you're missing from 80 to 100. So that's 3%. So you go from 80 to 83. So now you ignore 83% of the damage, which means instead of 240, you block 249. So now you only get 51% damage reduction instead of 60. So your final damage went from 40% of your damage to 49% of your damage, which is almost a 25% damage increase for hitting a 15% IED debuff.
Okay.
So is it worth it to use?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Worth it by a lot, right? Let's say you were already at 95 and then you add it up. It's not going to be as big of an increase, but because he has 300% defense, every 1% increase from you means 3% more final damage. And not 3% on the basis of 100%, but it's 3 percentage points, right? If you go from 90% dealing 90% of your damage to dealing 93% of your damage, that's not a 3% damage increase, that's a 3.3% damage increase.
Okay.
Because, percentages and baselines and that kind of stuff, and the other thing that you were talking about, like attacking Lucid and go to 250 and all of that, you also have a final damage multiplier based on what level you are compared to the monsters you're hitting. So that's another way of getting final damage. So if you're 5 levels above the monster, you get your max multiplier at 20%. Reboot's not so lucky. We have to be 5 levels above to get 10%, and that's the highest we can get. But you can get 20% final damage from that as well. So Lucid is 230. So once you're 235, at least level-wise, you'll be dealing max damage on her.
Okay.
And the other thing about Lucid is that she is very much designed to be a party boss. Because if you've seen Lucid, you see those golems she spawns. Those take like a maximum amount of damage per line of damage on her. So they need to be hit by a lot of lines of damage. And if you're by yourself, your line output is like 1/6. Or if you're not a very heavy line outputter, which I don't think Kinesis is, you might get stuck between the golems very quickly, which means dragons will become complicated, which means, you're just going to get sandwiched by golems and damaged by those guys. And that's going to be a bad time. So you will need the best mechanic of all to be able to do it, which is damage.
More people.
More damage. Yeah, or more people. But yeah, damage is the best mechanic eventually. Because if you could just burst her down in like a minute, then she'll have no... she won't have any time to spawn more golems, and then you can fuck her up.
Okay.
But yeah. So just to say, soloing Lucid is a very, very ambitious goal. Being in a party of Lucid, that's way more realistic for a lot of people.
Easy Lucid?
Easy Lucid still has like half the HP of normal. She's not that much easier. She's definitely a step down. The main reason she's easier is that almost all of the things that hit you in Easy Lucid do way less damage than in normal. So she's more forgiving on the mechanics, so you can really use it as like a practice.
So you don't even think that just being level 250 is like a further enough away, like...
It could be for non-reboot. I don't have really the expectation of the experience of how strong you are at how much damage you can really put out. I'm able to solo Lucid on one character, but that was only at like 260 on my arc with like pretty decent funding. Yeah, and I have a decent amount of lines on that character as well, and have like a cheat code skill that just clears the entire map with like infinite lines and is an IED for like 12 seconds. Iframe for like 12 seconds as well.
Yeah.
Which allowed me to do it, but yeah, you have access to way more damage, but yeah, how far you're going to dip into all of those sources, that's going to be up to you.
Yeah, okay. So so for right now, right, like, what do you think of my hyper stat? Like,
yeah, so hyper stat, int is not a good one to put points into. Int and magic attack. So int is a final chunk, so it doesn't even get multiplied by your percentage intellect. So that's something you can put some points into afterwards if you have like a few leftovers, but you don't really go for that one hard enough. So it would be better to throw it into critical rate instead and try to focus on getting your critical rate to 100% so that your critical damage can always apply.
Okay.
So between your hyper stats, where you put your points in your legion, which characters you put in your legion, and which link skills you unlock, between those, you'll try to get the correct, like optimized setup for what your class needs when it comes to critical rate, critical damage, boss damage, IED. Those four are the most important things to look at.
Okay. And how does boss damage interact? Like like mine says 148%, right? Like what does that mean?
Yeah, it's not like final damage. It's not like you do 2.5 times your damage. You can look at Maple stats to see, like I think it's just formula. Yeah. I'll send you the link for Maple Stats, but basically they go into everything math related. So like damage calculation is all in here, but basically, so when you're attacking regular monsters, then your percentage damage gets used, or your damage bonus, I guess, gets used in your calculation. And then when you're attacking bossing, damage and bonus and boss damage get added up together into like one big pile. So that's why in Reboot, we don't tend to go as high on boss damage because you get diminishing returns because they're additive with each other. And that's why in non-reboot, you do tend to stack more boss damage because the lack of boss damage makes that diminishing return not happen as quickly.
Okay.
But to know how it works exactly in the calculation, you can check the numbers there if you want to. But yeah, it's not like final damage where it's like, oh, that's a boss, so I do 2.5 times damage. And the main reason you don't is also because they have the PDR and they have MDR. So they have physical damage reduction and magic damage reduction.
Okay, so if I was gonna like redo my hyper stats, right? Like I should prioritize damage and then crit rate and then crit damage and then IED and then boss damage and then intellect.
I have a video on that as well. ! Hyper stats. That sounded so. That sounded pretty correct, except I would switch critical rate and damage. Even though damage seems more directly giving you damage, and critical rate is indirect, but critical rate allows your critical damage to go in. And critical damage is a better source of damage than damage because there's fewer sources of critical damage, so the diminishing return hits you less hard.
Okay.
And the other thing that you have to take into account is your Arcane Power. But if you keep doing your dailies, keep going to new areas, you will be getting a lot of Arcane Power, but going from that 10%, 30%, 50%, remember that gives you final damage, and final damage is the best multiplier of all the sources of damage. It won't show up in your range, but once you're hitting monsters, those will make your damage on monsters go up the highest. So if you're at a point, but this is also explained in a hyperstat video, if you're at a point where you're like, you're really close to hitting like that next threshold where you get a bunch of extra final damage, then putting some points into your Arcane Power and your hyperstats is actually a great idea. And joining a guild to get your extra 30, of course. Right,
but for me, boss damage will be slightly more important.
Yeah, comparative to the reboot video. Yeah. The eventual number you will go to is higher. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that baseline of crit is important. So that's just gonna add. I think the last thing I guess I should share with you is !links. That has an overview of all of the link skills and the Legion buffs of all the classes in the game.
So, so the ones I have now, right? Like those are.
Yeah. You definitely started. You start with the right ones, so you can see like, okay, why are they next? You know, why does everyone say you got to make a Phantom? Why do people say you have to make a Beast Tamer? Well, now you know, right? You can see all the numbers, so you can see why they're useful. Yeah. And because of the general order that they're useful in, I put those in the first row, and because of the order in the row, they just pop out in the column like that, basically.
Yeah. So what does it mean? Like, is Mercedes giving you EXP and skill CDR?
So it gives you EXP if you have the link skill linked, and it gives you skill CDR in the member bonus if you have them equipped in the Legion.
Yeah. Okay.
So only when they're active, yeah. But they, right. If you have them in both, they can give both. So you see how big the Legion can get.
Is the Legion damage that they do, is it based on like their range, or is it based on just their gear or their main stat, or like?
It's based on their level and based on their Star Force.
Oh, really? Okay, so like, would it like for a character that I don't play, right? Like, so if I was never gonna play by Evan again,
yes,
would it make more sense to get cheap gear that I can get a really high Star Force on? Just put it on him?
Yes, that will give you more Legion power and they'll give you more coins. I actually have drop rate gear, damage gear, and Star Force gear, and I switch into Star Force gear where I'll log off my character so that I can have more Legion rate power while I'm not on the character, yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
Well, only when it makes sense, right? I'm not going to make Star Force gear for like 2 or 3 more stars, but if I have 10-star Tyrant, I'll make like 14 or 18 or something star something else, because then it's a significant enough increase. Or if I use event rings that can get Star Force, I might switch them out with a 10-star or 12-star or ring, because then it does
Okay,
add up if you have a bunch of them. Yeah.
yeah, because like right now, like I don't make coins fast enough to even
Yeah, it's
like I'm
normal.
pretty sure if I AFK, like if I didn't log in for like 3 days, I still wouldn't like
Yeah, you
max
wouldn't hit the
out.
cap. No, the cap is
Yeah.
actually really weird because the cap goes up as you level, but you still hit your cap faster when you level. You would expect it to be more forgiving, so you can wait longer, but you actually still have to wait shorter. Because at my point where I'm at, I mean, I'm at 8.4k. My max is 700, and I make I think about 340 a day or something.
Uh-huh.
No, wait, no, I make like 400 a day, so I can't even wait 2 days. It'll already fill up. So
Yeah.
that cap isn't really that high.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, yeah. You would expect it to be like, oh, now you can wait a week because you've worked so hard and built so much Legion. No, you have to click even more now.
What is the character you have there that's just a big L?
Oh, that's from the lab server. There was a specific event where if you reached a certain goal, you would get the pieces at the end, and they don't count towards the max of 36. So I have 2 extra pieces. So I have this one, the level 200 piece, and the level 250 piece, but they're like really odd shape. Like this is the 250 piece. It's really awkward
Wow.
to place.
Oh yeah, that is weird.
And the other one is just an L. It's the same as the thief piece, 200.
Yeah. Okay, so
But they're really good. They've got like 35 weapon and magic attack, and the other one is 20, so that's 55 extra. But might come back someday. It's a TMS event, and they've had a second iteration since then, so maybe we will get that one as well. Might
okay,
be
yeah, because
interesting.
I actually don't even have enough link skills to like fill up my like link page.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I
only
saw that. Yeah. So in the beginning, you just use whatever you can, and then once you have more and more, then you can start min-maxing. So like, do I need the critical rate? Do I want the IED? Am I bossing? Am I mobbing? Like the tide of battle is really good if you keep moving around. While you're mobbing, you're rotating the map. But if you're bossing and the boss is stationary, you're not going to be moving that much, so tide of battle becomes useless. So you just kind of switch it around. And we don't have 0 yet, so we don't have 0 in the rotation for us. But hopefully we will get it by this winter in Reboot, so then we can start thinking about that one as well. And Noble Fire is one that stacks when you have a bigger party. So if you're mobbing, it's not very good. If you're solo bossing, also not very good. But if you're party bossing, it gets really good. So yeah, a lot of them becomes situational. And some of them stack. Do you know about that?
like some of the link skills like interact with each other.
Yes, they interact with each other, like Empirical Knowledge and Thief's Cunning, right? One gives a debuff, the other one gives you damage when you debuff something. But I don't mean that. I mean that you can link multiple characters to one character and they stack into the same slot.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that also shows in the link skill here, so you will see which ones stack together. So that's your I thought I mentioned that here. Oh, I guess I didn't. So that's the immunity ones here. These damage immunity ones. The resistance link skill. So that's the mechanic, the Wild Hunter, Battle Mage, Blaster. Those give you immunity after you die for a few seconds, up to 2 seconds at level 2. Those can all stack into one slot for up to 8 seconds of immunity after you res.
So when you do your link manager, are you selecting multiple times, or do they just automatically stack?
They're just all in the list, and if you click them and you already have one, then it'll just stack with it.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
But it has to be a different one, so you can't just do 4 blasters. It has to be one of each of the other ones. Yeah. And the Explorer links also stack. So like if you have a Shadower and a Dual Blade and a Night Lord, those all stack together, and the same for the other Explorers. And then the Cygnus Knights also all stack into one slot. Up to level 10, because it's 5 of those, all level 2, up to 10 levels.
How important is it to get legendary on your inner skills, by the way?
It depends from class to class. So if the class needs attack speed +1, I would say it's pretty important. If your class is basically incapable of hitting 100% critical rate without getting a line there, that's pretty important. And if your class very heavily relies on buff duration to get a lot of damage, then that's very important. If you don't need any of those, I think just keeping it unique and getting like Meso Obtain or drop rate, one for more money. That's more a Reboot thing though. The other one for more drop rate, that's more universal because you can get more nodes. That might be useful for a while, or getting it on a legendary line even, that might be well. But you don't have circulators and everything, so I'm not exactly sure where the priorities lie because you guys upgrade in a different way.
Yeah.
We just buy
Yeah.
circulators from the cash shop for mesos, and then we just roll it up, and then
Yeah, there was one in the Fairy Bros thing, but like I was too afraid to use it, right? Because like it's just one, and so like yeah, it could rank it up to legendary, or it could just like mess up the lines I have now.
Yeah, is it one of those where you can or you cannot choose your previous numbers? Because in Reboot, you can choose to switch or to keep. It's like a black cube for us.
Oh, let me see. Oh yeah, I guess it is. Oh, okay.
Yeah, in
I
that
didn't
case,
know
it's
that.
no risk, right? You can always just try if it doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah, but like I don't know if you can like get like a large quantity of those.
Oh, you can choose.
circulators
Okay. Yeah, no, I
places.
don't know if you can. No. Yeah, so I guess you still have a list of like specific non-reboot questions, but at least hopefully a bunch of the general questions are
yeah,
lessened.
honestly, honestly, you answered like a lot of the questions I had. The only other thing like I was like a little like not sure about was scrolling, right? Like
Yeah.
with the spell trace, right? Because you can do like 100%, 70%, or 30%, and like I've been doing like 70%. Like, is it worth it to do 30% or?
I think that's where you start. I think you start doing 70, and I think then eventually you start using special event scrolls on the important items one at a time to like min-max items individually once you start flushing out. But I think there's a lot of space for upgrading in non-reboot that you don't need. And need is like a strong word, right? Let's say like I need a car. Well, you don't really need a car because you can just get somewhere. You can also go there by bike, right? It'll just take you longer, right? It's kind of like what does the word need mean for you? Yes, some people I think upgrade to the point where they can like solo the black mage before they even try Lotus and Damien. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit there, but I think there's a lot of stuff because in Reboot we have a lot of fewer sources of damage, and even there, you know, because in KMS Reboot they kill the black mage, right?
Yeah.
They don't have all the non-reboot sources. They're KMS, so they don't even have Gollux. They don't even have sweet water stuff. Like there's so much they don't have. But they were able to kill the black mage. So there's a lot of stuff that you can have access to, but you don't necessarily need. And I think that might be one of them where really min-maxing on all of the scrolling on everything. That's like I don't know. I don't know at what point that really becomes super important.
Yeah, I guess especially with my goals for right now, like it's really like a lot less important because, like I said, like my only immediate goal is like, I think I want to hit 250 and then see where I am bossing wise, like what bosses like I can do.
Maybe focus a bit more on Legion.
Yeah, and then focus. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Focus a bit more on Legion and like trying some other classes and leveling some other classes.
For sure.
So yeah, I think that's what my goal is for right now.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Yeah, scrolling specifically, it just I don't know enough about, but like the best thing to do for your weapon and like those types of scrolls, they're like 2 bill each, and they give you like +10 to +12 attack or something, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the other thing. I kind of have to figure out my revenue streams, because really, Maple Tour and
Ursus.
Boss crystals, because Ursus like isn't like super reliable just because like people like do it at weird times, and it's kind of just like if I'm on, it's like
but like, there's times when it's double. So if you check !Ursus in my chat, there's like 2 blocks of 2 hours where you get double the money. So they'll always do it during that time. So you want to Yeah,
I think if I join a guild, that'll probably
yeah. Because if people are strong enough, you could like 6 or 7 people could, or like even like 4 people could probably take it down. Maybe even 1 person, honestly. Yeah.
Sometimes I get the message from the dude that it's 2x, and then I go into channel 1 and like no one's there, and like no one's like mega like.
Well, so if you queue up for Ursus, it'll just take from all the channels together and just put all the people together in one run. Doesn't matter if you're in the same channel or not.
Okay.
So make sure you're not in a party. And then just talk to the NPC and then just like join the raid, and it'll just put you in a queue. And then when it's full 18, everyone has to click ready. And then if everyone does, which that's sometimes questionable, but when everyone does, it'll just put you all in the same channel in the same run. And then after the run, you get in the same channel, and then you'll start seeing a bunch of people because you'll start getting thrown into the same channel after the run. Because it's typically channel 13. At least I don't know what server you're in, but for us we have 30 channels now. So now it's like we get thrown into somewhere between 20 and 30, but typically it's all in channel 13. That's probably where you see a lot of people.
Yeah, I think we only have 20.
Yeah. Yeah, that means you probably have 13. If you log in during Ursus time, you'll see channel 13 probably a little bit more full than the other ones. That's why.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. The other thing is like I think just like maybe I don't need a whole lot of mesos right now. So like if I just like do my leveling and then do my legion and then just see how much I've accumulated in kind of resources at like that point, and then I can think about like pushing my gear further.
Yeah, the Arcane Power and the boost notes are going to be super important. That and just figuring out your character and like checking, just figuring out what works for you and how you work around the mechanics of your class. Those are going to help you a lot. The one thing I would say to like invest some into is trying to get the magic attack on your emblem.
Yeah,
that'll give you a good boost.
Like, I think the only way I can do that though is like by buying the buying the Meister cubes.
Well, or Master Craftsman, right?
Yeah.
Those are pretty good.
Or just like finding them, which like I feel like it's like kind of like a side thing, right? Because it's not. It's something I specifically have to go and like do and say.
Well, you could roll with the cult cubes as well in Epic, right? Those might be more common. No?
Oh yeah,
those. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess I didn't think about like buying them.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. I remember harvesting, right? Learning the harvesters so you can start gathering materials. Yep.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. Like, can you like salvage gear? You know how in other games you can like salvage gear and get resources back? Like, if it's untradeable.
We have extracting.
Mm-hmm.
So but you can.
Because I've gone to Ardent, like channel 1, right?
Oh,
and there's that thing, but like I can't put certain things. Like most of the things I've tried to put inside of it, this like Thunder Tala's extractor. Most of the things I try and put in it, like they don't.
Yeah, that's different. Hang on, that's different for Reboot and non-Reboot. We can just learn all the professions and do all the things ourselves on our character. But there's two types of extractors. I think there's a gear extractor, and then there's a scroll and recipe extractor.
Okay.
And they look a little different. Like one is purple and one is blue, I think. And then the gear extractor, you could just put gear in, and then you'll get item crystals, philosopher stones back. And then the scroll and the scroll and recipe extractor, I think you get weird shit. You get like mana crystals and spell essences, and those are those are like kind of useless. There's only a very low chance of getting the useful ones from that.
Okay, yeah, I think that was probably.
And a cube extractor apparently, someone says that you can give you cube fragments.
Yeah, I think I just probably didn't check what kind of extractor it is. I didn't know they were like the different ones.
Yeah.
So
I think you have to get a recipe and then craft the extractor and then place it down and then you can like charge a fee and other people can use it, something like that.
Oh, and you get the money? That's kind of cool.
Yeah, although most people just make it free. Because if you charge anything, someone places one next to you for 1 meso less and you're fucked.
Yeah.
You'll have like one for 50. In the beginning, people put it down for like 50k, which was like nothing, so people pay it. And then someone would put another one down next to it for like 40k, and then someone else would put one next to it for 1k just to flex on them, and then they would just get fucked over. Yeah, that would just always happen.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's something that I'll look into. Is just
that's more non-reboot specific. I don't know exactly how that goes, but yeah, extraction gives you the philosopher stones. But in Reboot, that's more of a useful thing because we can NPC the philosopher stones for 300k each. So that's like a legitimate source of income. But like certain items will have a good NPC value in Reboot and will be like have no value in Reboot in non-Reboot. Like our primal essences NPC for 10 mil, but I think they just NPC for 1 mil for you guys. But they have good value and you can trade them. So some of those things are items can have different NPC values. It's very different sometimes. When I log in, it's like, oh shit, that's strange. Yeah, that's how it be.
Okay, well, cool. I think that helped me a lot in terms of figuring out the direction I need to go and like what to work on.
Yeah, I hope so. I think we got. There's probably still some stuff you can look at, some videos, right, and some guides that I have. But I think a lot of them will make way more sense now that we have established this baseline of understanding.
Yeah, for sure. Especially like the Matrix thing, because like I
That's a
did
lot,
look at
right?
guides for the Matrix thing, but like it was just so foreign to me in
Yeah.
terms of like understanding that I
Yeah,
just
it's
like
all
it just
very
didn't
new.
click in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, it was easier to figure out in the beginning because there were less slots, less skills. Well, although in the beginning it was kind of confusing because you would get a lot of nodes in the beginning, but you would also get boost nodes and skill nodes of other classes that you would just all
Yeah.
have to extract. So the chance of getting useful ones that you could use was actually very low. And then it was a system that's been refined over the years as well. So
Yeah, it's kind of exciting, right? Like,
oh yeah, you can get so much stronger from it. Yeah, there's a lot of gains to be made, and you get basically now you get the free gains with the matrix points. That's also something they added later in the beginning that wasn't there either.
yeah. It's cool to see like how complex like the game is, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Up
I
to
mean,
4 job,
it
yeah.
might have always been this complex, but I guess like, you
No,
know,
it's
when I
it's been
was
more
first
simple
playing,
because it's just like main stat, attack, and then some classes had some crit. You just look at your damage range, right? That's where that comes from. You just used to look at your damage range. That's it. And then when you're in a party, you can give hyper body, and you can give sharp eyes, and you can give holy symbol, and you can give haste. And you know you level to the next job, and you just level the skills, and you're done. Well, you had to get your mastery books. That was a shit show. You had to get them from like Chaos Horntail and stuff. That was, and they had like percentage chance of failing and everything. That was another drama. But you're pretty railroaded. Like every character was basically just a copy of all the other characters. The only differences was like, you know, does someone have lag? Is someone very good at playing their character? And is their gear a little bit stronger? But everyone was pretty much just a carbon copy. But now that you get into the Matrix, people are kind of still copies because there's a meta, but you can kind of with some classes, yeah, you can customize way more. Like what do you use in certain situations, right? You can reset your hyper stats. You can reset your hyper skills. You can you redo your matrix. You can move your legion pieces around, right? So there's way more levels of customization now that we didn't have before. So that extra dimension of Maple is kind of exciting.
I think this job is pretty cool too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's really cool, especially like because like I literally played Maple like in like '08 when I was like in primary, and then like I literally haven't touched the game. I think I touched the game like when Big Bang first happened, just to like see like what it was all about, but like I had no direction. I was just kind of like AFK, like farming levels, and there weren't like a lot of my friends still playing, so I just like quit.
Yeah,
But
that's what I had too.
really,
Once your friends stop playing, it's kind of like it's hard to keep getting into it. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's kind of crazy and like it's weird in a way because like the only reason I kind of got back into it is because like Deboki kind of came back and started posting stuff, and I was watching some of his videos, and then I found some of your videos, and then tuned into your stream, and then like that's what kind of like made me like have the itch to play again. Because like before this, I was just mainly playing like World of Warcraft and like I don't know if you've heard of like Guild Wars 2, but like those MMOs.
Yeah, I used to play Guild Wars 2 a bit, yeah. I like that one. I think of all the games that I've ever played, Guild Wars 2 had the most friendly community, like the most like mature community out of any game I've ever played.
Yeah, it's a pretty good game. It's just like for me personally, I'm like really kind of deep into the game. Like I in that game, I'm like top 500 like account value, and just like I've done like everything content wise. So like besides like my like weekly static raids, like there's not a whole lot for me to do
Until an
until
expansion comes out, and then then you go hard.
like I've kind of like prepped some stuff for that, but
Yeah.
like there's only so much prep you can do.
Yep.
So it's just kind of finding something in the meantime. Because I was also doing WoW, and I did a bit of the latest like
You've got some free time on your hands, don't you?
Yeah, well, it's kind of like in phases. Like
Yeah,
it's not
I
like
get you.
all at once.
Yeah, I get you.
with COVID, it's
Yeah, you
like-
can't really do multiple MMOs at once, I feel, because every moment you spend in one feels like you're missing progress on another one.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about Guild Wars that I don't really feel, right? Because like I
Yeah.
can take long breaks from that.
You can
game
max
and,
level
like,
and then
yeah, especially because well, once they have like a legendary system that they're supposed to come out with, like an armory system, and once that comes out, I'll literally like just never have to do anything ever again.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I played it for a long time, and then kind of felt like I did what I wanted to do there, and then there was one thing I never did that I still wanted to do was make fuck, what's it called? Twilight, I think. No.
Yeah, Twilight's the great sword.
Yeah, but that's the double one, right? There's Equinox and.
No, Eternity is the one.
Oh, Eternity. Yeah. So I wanted to make Twilight. That's the black one, right?
Yeah, Twilight. Yeah, it's the black one.
And I wanted to make Twilight, so I went back to make Twilight, and then I started playing the game again. And then I made Twilight, and literally on the day I made Twilight, I was like, well, now fucking what? So then I just hopped around for like another month just to show off my sword, I guess. And then I kind of stopped playing.
Because like raids are kind of like the thing that people do now, except like there's been a bit of power creep, so like a lot of them.
Yeah, well, I would get like what was it, like Ascended, right? There was like Ascended gear that was the same stats as Legendary, but like easier to get. So I would do that, and then you would get, oh god, what was it? You had to get like Corruption something for the dungeons, for the. That was like those dungeons that are like.
You get Agony Resistance.
Yeah, Agony Resistance. Yeah, so you can have those orbs, and then you imbue them in your gear so that you can do like the higher level of the dungeons, right?
It's a cool system. It's just that everything like.
It's very repetitive, right?
There's no gear treadmill, right? There's like no like in Maple, right? You can just like min max and like forever, and then in WoW you have the different tiers, right? But like in Guild Wars, because there's no like set gear progression, especially for like veteran players, you just like Ascended gear, for example. Like I have like 100 sets of Ascended gear, but like I also have Legendary gear, so I can like move freely between my characters.
Oh,
and
wow.
It has like the advantage of Legendary gear is you can choose your stats. So imagine like so Ascended gear.
Oh, like what was it, like precision and whatever the fuck, like the prefix?
Yeah, there's like Condi damage, power damage, and then like multipliers like crit rate and like healing and stuff. Yeah. And Ascended gear has the best stats, but like whatever you make it as or whatever you select it as, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And Legendary is the same, except it has like a drop down menu, and you can just choose which stat set you want. So like once you have like every legendary item, there's like literally.
And tradable, there's nothing else you need to do. Any new character, you just dump it on there. I mean, there's a level requirement still, right?
Yeah, but like like leveling is like trivial.
Yeah, it's trivial. Yeah, for sure.
Not really an experience like the same way. Like I consider MapleStory like out of all the games like the most like experience-driven thing in terms of leveling.
For sure.
The way it feels to me, but like
you maxed in like a week, right? In Guild Wars, you're like maxed.
Yeah, well, you could do it in a day, and plus, like the more content you play, you get things that give you levels. So like they're called tomes of knowledge, and they literally just give you.
You get the skill points and everything, and then you need to use the skill points in the what was it, the fountain?
Yeah. So like exactly, yeah. So like I have like
this is a long time ago.
Like more levels than I have characters or character slots. So I could delete all my characters and just like remake them and then re-level them with like tomes of knowledge.
Yeah, I remember that. I was level 80, but I had already leveled like 120 times past 80 or something.
Yeah. So it's not like really something that like matters the same way. And like you can trade like your legendary gear, but they're supposed to add like an armory. And it's something that you deposit the gear into the armory, and then just all your characters have like access to it.
Oh, right. It's like a museum kind of thing, and then you just access, take it out.
It's like similar to like it would probably be a similar UI to like the link manager, right? Like you open the link manager and like you choose what like armor. Like they haven't added it, but it's like a system they promised, and like literally once they do that, like. Just all your characters have like still like right now all your characters have access, but you have to go through the effort of like trading it.
Well, you know what's left, dude. It's collecting event exclusive items and getting #1 PvP.
Well, you know what people people just say it's like Fashion Wars too, right? Because it's
Fashion
just like
Wars.
collecting cosmetics.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the end games become. For like veteran players, and I kind of like it because I do like the cosmetic side of things.
Is there still a World versus World?
Yeah, it's funny because World versus World is their most like unique like feature, and it's kind of like what a lot of people consider their best feature, but they don't like invest the right amount of resources into it.
That's unfortunate. I remember back in the day, man, you just like walk somewhere and everyone was grouping in a spot and you're like, what's going on? And it's all of a sudden like a mesmer pops out of nowhere with a portal and you go through it
Yeah.
and suddenly you got like 15 dudes and golems like swimming through the water going into like some niche spot where another mesmer is like snuck into the base, puts a portal, and suddenly you're like in the middle of it and it's just like one chaotic shit show of like 150 people versus 150 people just like throwing everything.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
The community is pretty wholesome because you don't have,
Yeah.
you know, like the same competitive, because it's like competitive, but like it can only be like so competitive because like.
But imagine having MapleStory with like maps with that size, with that many people on it, with just like free like map chat. Like basically like free megaphones. Like imagine that in MapleStory for like a day. It would just be unbearable, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But there you have like maps with hundreds of people on it and people are just like having friendly conversations. If you ask anything, you'll get like one or two jokes, but there'll be like three people whispering you like legitimately the answer or like a link. And if you have a chat with a link, you can just click the link in the chat and it'll just take you to the website, right? You don't have to like copy it and
wiki and like whatever you want.
Yeah, /wiki whatever you want. It just searches it in a wiki immediately. Like god. It's like
the community is really good, especially the EU community. The EU community is a lot better and a lot more. It's a lot more populous. I've played on it because the best raiders are all EU guys.
Okay.
So I've played on the EU community
because they speak better English, right? They can communicate better.
Yeah. A lot. Most people like speak English, but there are some guilds that are just full German and stuff that are
full
really
French,
good.
full Spanish, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the community's like mostly. You'll always have that one guy who like doesn't like give you advice. He'll just type like /wiki like.
Yeah. It's like when you ask a question, they use the like "Let me Google that for you" link instead.
Yeah.
And you just watch a GIF of somebody.
Yeah, but yeah, in general, it's like a pretty good community.
Yeah, but that's like one or two people, and then there's like three people legitimately helping you always. I've never had a single like really bad experience there ever.
Yeah, I mean, so far, like I've had a pretty good experience with GMS, like especially with the Discords, people being really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have to be because I mean they're kind of like non-reboot is kind of like is always kind of on the verge of like dying out, so they need to be nice to their people.
Yeah, I've thought about starting Reboot, but I just like I already had characters on here, and the burning event was specifically for non-reboot.
Yep.
I think if the burning event had been for Reboot, like I'd be a Reboot player right now, but I just felt like
what if you did what if you did the event and did Umbra on Reboot the whole time though?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe that would have worked out better.
Yeah.
But
there's one guy in my chat who started with when Umbra came out. He started at 1k Legion and now he's at 6.5.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's not an average though. He went like super fucking hard. But yeah, Umbra had the capability to also give you that huge jump start. That's always the summer events, winter events. That's always where the huge gains are made.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if another similar event happens, I might like. I know a lot of people just play both, you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, more people than I thought do a little bit of both. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like there's a lot of like appeal to something where it's literally just your progress and like your you just like there's more impact with like what you're doing and how it feels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, yeah, I just feel it's more controlled. There are less like possible outside forces that can disrupt your progress, and that makes it easier for me to plan in the long term.
Gotcha.
That's one of the... I've always found in non-reboot there were more ways that hackers, botters, you know, whatever, could like artificially mess with my progress, and that always felt really bad. That Nexon wasn't able to protect me from that, so I protect myself from that by being in Reboot, where the systems don't allow them to do that. That's mostly my reasoning.
Well, I mean, do you think the game, like overall, it's like going in like a good direction? Like, do you think they're going to like continue to invest in it, like, and just like keep it going for a long time?
They're doing bare minimum investments, which sucks. Like they're just
Really?
copying stuff from KMS. They're doing patchwork. All of GMS's Next on America is basically just fixing whatever they can with the little resources they have. They're not doing any like major overhauls. The whole thing is still built on source code from 2003.
Right.
Server instability is a huge problem.
Has KMS had that sort of like
Yeah,
like-
they have similar problems over there. The thing is just that it's not as pertinent for them because they have like single digit ping when they're playing there.
Yeah.
Whereas even people in NA playing on NA will still have like 40 to 80 ping.
I know like MapleStory in Korea is like still like one of the more popular games.
Yeah, I
like,
think
in
it's
general.
because a lot of people started when they were young and the game never really
Yeah.
fell off. So basically like everyone in the West has like League of Legends as a side game. In the
Yeah.
same way, everyone in Korea has like MapleStory as their side game. Like even people in like BTS and like K-pop stars like play MapleStory on the side. Like it's really fucking weird
Yeah.
how prolific it is in their culture.
I also play League and like there's a Korean streamer called Dopa.
I think I've heard that name before.
Yeah, so he was like a really talented, like mechanically gifted player, and like he's been like gotten multiple like rank 1s on the Korean server.
Wow.
But he was like banned from like professional play for like boosting.
Mm.
And so like he's like always been like kind of like a big like polarizing figure and like kind of very popular.
I see.
But he has to go to the military like pretty soon, so
Yeah.
he was like considering like maybe just like not playing as much League because because like there's no point investing like so much time into the preseason if he's gonna like not be around much longer. And one of the options he was considering was like streaming MapleStory, and he was getting a lot of positive feedback from his like community, which is pretty big as a streamer.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting that, you know, like people like are interested in watching him play MapleStory like with as big as he is.
Yeah, that is like a legitimate option even. Yeah. Imagine it.
Because
honestly, there's a lot of big streamers. I believe if like 4 big streamers all moved over and started playing MapleStory, then people would just like, it's not like they're gonna lose like 99% of their viewers. Like you'll just see like thousands of people starting to play MapleStory. Like if XQC starts playing MapleStory and plays it with like everyone who streams with Among Us with now, like okay, he's probably gonna drop like half his viewers probably because he's like hyper inflated like 70,000 now. But he's still going to keep like 35k, and then MapleStory is just going to like blow up literally because it won't be able to handle the influx of players.
I think someone like
Reckful played it for a bit as well, but he played it for
Yeah,
like 3 minutes and DC'd, and then he was like, well, fuck this game. And that's the problem, right? That shitty source code is what is making it not reach the heights that it can. I still think MapleStory is probably sitting on like the biggest untapped resource of potential of like any game that I know. But I don't think they're ever gonna fully tap into it, sadly.
I think someone like Summit or like a variety streamer who does play a lot of MMOs, like Soda, like if they played like Soda Popping, if he played MapleStory, I think a lot of people would like still watch it because he plays like random like games, you know, like on Steam. And
like what was it, like Shit Show Sunday or something? He just plays whatever, like horrible games.
If someone like Soda or Summit played MapleStory for like a day, like it would gain like so much traction, you know?
Yeah, you know how expensive those guys are to make them play it for an hour?
Yeah, they exactly. But you know, that would be like one of like if like
it would be really
GMS,
cool, yeah.
The GMS like you know, people like wanted to invest in anything, that would be like a pretty I feel like
I don't think they can afford that. Those people are like 20,000 plus per hour to even just play it.
Yeah, but like if even 20,000 people like try the game and spend $1, right? You kind of like get that back, right?
Yeah, there's well, this goes more into like streaming stuff, but there's been more and more thought, more theory on, and more experience now, like in the last 5 to 10 years with like how do you do that? And it seems that more like micro boosting, where you just give like a small streamer like $100 just for playing it, and you get like a small tight knit community to play it. That tends to have higher efficiency if you do that with like 1,000 small streamers versus like one really big one, because once they
Well,
move off of the game, a lot of the players move off of it as well again.
It did do something like that for Burning World. I think I saw like Angels Kimmy streaming MapleStory at the start of Burning World.
Yeah, Angels, Kimmy, and Matt were a team. I was Ariasaki and I were they were racing Ariasaki and me and Copperson and oh god, what was her name? She's got like pink hair. Oh, they all do. God, Bubbles or something. Bubble something. I don't remember her name. But there were like 3 teams, and they were trying to like rush to see the non-Maple player who could get to the highest level within like a 2-hour session or something.
Oh, gotcha. Who won?
I think Matt and Kimi got it. We got they got off to like a rough start, and we took a headway, and then they had like a smarter strategy, and Matt also had like a special buff because he was MVP, so he's constantly MVP buffing her because he is a whale in MapleStory. And then, but then near the end, we almost caught up apparently. So I feel like if we fine-tuned our strategy a bit more, I feel like we could have won. But it was kind of close. I don't know how Copperson did because he was gonna do it like the next day, but I think he didn't get as far.
A lot of the like leveling videos that I watch are his videos. So like I would feel like he would have like a really good insight into the best way to do it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he does those. Well, yeah, but it's specifically for non-reboot. There's a lot of stuff that you can apply and that you can all stack together, and then you can go super hard. You have those videos where you're like 40 minutes to level 200 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. The event happened like right before the game was back on my radar, so I didn't like go back and like watch it, but I saw it on like the news forums and stuff.
Oh, Copperson got to like 100. Oh wait, how far did we got to like 140 or something, right? Or was it 130 something? I think we got to like 134, 136. I think we got to around there. I think because there was like it was a burning character, right? So that goes pretty fast. And then Zakum, and we managed to get her into Zakum, and then she survived with the rune and everything. So that gives you a huge boost. We did like 1 or 2 Monster Park runs because that gives you a lot of experience. So at like 105, you get the Monster Park, you get the Gold Potion, and then with the Gold Potion and the Rune going in, killing all the arms, that's a lot of experience. Also, you don't have the pressure of just being 100 because you don't have enough skill points yet, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like, I mean, it's cool that they're doing that sort of thing, but yeah, they could go bigger, right? Like, I mean, what do you think, like, right now the biggest issue with the game is in general?
Server stability is the main problem.
Oh, okay. Just crashing in general.
A lot of I truly believe that a lot of people who, like client and server stability, like I think if you start a new game and you have trouble with the launcher, trouble getting the game started, you have to start it 2 or 3 times, and once you get into it, you crash in like an important situation. I think immediately, like almost 50% of the people just are like, well, fuck this game. And like of that 50%, like another 50% are like that within a week, I think, and you immediately lose so many people right out the gate, and they don't get to experience any of the stuff that's possible after that. It's unfortunate.
Pretty much every other time I log in, like I crash like after I get to character select, but I was already kind of like used to that, so like it didn't put me off the game.
Yeah, I ask this all the time to people. It's like, what other game, if it crashed half as much as Maple, would you still play? And everyone's like, no other game. Even if it crashes only half as much, I would like quit that so fast. But for some reason, we just got a soft spot for MapleStory, so we just...
Yeah, I don't know the technical side of it, but it doesn't seem like it would be too hard for them to like just get some extra server space and do like a bit of migration. Like maybe like the maintenance downtime is too long that they don't want to do that, but...
Well, for the startup, one thing, it's really crazy though, but the way I play the game is I always have my task manager open. And on the task manager, you can see if your disk is putting any power into MapleStory, and you can see your memory usage. And in the beginning, the disk, either you will get disk space when the RAM is going up, or you wait until the RAM settles and doesn't go up anymore, and then you can start clicking channel select and character select. If you click it too soon, there's like a chance your game closes. And you also have to have it open in case you memory leak. So you have to be like a minor in IT so that you can play this game.
I'm only at like is 2,000 megabytes high for
Yeah,
memory usage?
that's high. Yeah, like 1.9 and plus is probably leak territory.
Oh, okay.
But with every
Like,
update,
so
that number kind of fluctuates.
you just have to like close it and relaunch it every time the number gets too high?
Yeah, that's basically what I do. Is I close it, I close the launcher, and then restart the launcher as admin and start from there.
Okay.
And if you crash a lot in a day, then a full shutdown could be necessary, which is not like shutting off your computer, but actually doing like full shutdown, which is a separate thing.
Wow. Okay.
I swear I should get partial credit for my IT courses, dude. I should be able to do like a fast track so I complete it in like 2.5 years at this point.
Yeah, that is kind of.
But it might mean like a new person comes into the stream and is like, hey, oh, I see this game, MapleStory. Is this a fun game? And you'd be like, listen, dog, you need to open up your task manager. I'm going to need you to look at your RAM usage, okay? Like, everyone's like, okay, well, never mind. I'm going to go find another game, right? Like, this scares off so many people so quick, right? You're like, oh, do you have any tips on how to crash less? Yeah, here's a 400-page PowerPoint on how you can make sure that your RAM usage doesn't go, yeah, Jesus.
Oh, someone in chat just said something interesting, right? Like MapleStory 2 should have just been the same game.
Yeah, that's what
they,
I've been. Yeah,
all the engine and stuff.
that's what I've been saying for like 7 years, dude.
So crazy to me.
They could have brought back PvP, made it more competitive. Like all of that stuff could have been added in. They could have put some battle royale shit into it, and also a lot of features that I still have on my list that I want in MapleStory. Apparently, half of those actually existed in MapleStory 2. Like, some MapleStory 2 players were in the chat. In the beginning, when MapleStory 2 died, they kind of did like a refugee program where they tried to get them to go from MapleStory 2 to MapleStory 1, right? They would give them like special boosts if they had a MapleStory 2 account and stuff like that. So there were some MapleStory 2 people in the chat like for a while, and we would talk about... and I would talk about features and things that I wanted, and they would say like, "Oh, that existed in MapleStory 2. Oh, this also existed in MapleStory 2." And I was like, "Why didn't they implement it for us? Like, it could still work for us. Like, for example, like presets of gear, for example, where you just select the presets and you can select them whenever you want."
So many MMOs have that. It seems like a staple of MMOs.
Or when you can have you can turn any item that exists into an NX item so that you can wear it as an NX item to cover. I was like, they'll make so much money off of that. But apparently that existed in MapleStory 2. But why don't we have that in MapleStory 1? Everyone should be able to look like anything they want, right? Without having to anvil or without it not being anvilable. Just turn an item into an NX item instead. Boom. Like, make it cost 10k NX. You'll just make $10,000 in the first hour. Guaranteed.
Well, you know how, like, the NX, like, perm, like, is, like, locked per character, like, type? Like,
yeah.
They would actually make more money, I think, if it wasn't, because like whales and people who really like NX, like I actually really like Perma NX, I would buy way more if I knew that I could just like trade it across my account. Like I actually buy less.
Yeah, there's gonna be a sweet spot. But now there's like 9 sets of inventories. Yeah, that's not that ain't it, chief. That's not the sweet spot. But if it was like 3 sets or something, although I did do a gear progression with someone, and he literally bought the Urda set on every single character, even the ones in the same set. He just all of them, so that they all have it at the same time. So you know there are whales out there who will be like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but I agree. If you just had like Explorer, Cygnus, Resistance, and even like an
and then everything else, yeah, like 4
like
groups.
having just a random like Zero by itself, Kinesis by itself,
Beast-Tamer by itself, Ho-Young by itself. Even though Beast-Tamer and Ho-Young are both basically furries, so they should 100% be in the same group. But yeah,
exactly. Like, but you could also put both of them into like. I mean, I guess Sengoku is kind of supposed to be Japanese, right? But you could also like have some sort of like Oriental like catch-all, you know, even though Ho-Young is very clearly like Korean. You could have just Eastern, like name it some sort of Eastern thing.
Well, I mean, whatever they come up with, just some kind of leftover group. Yeah, it should be doable for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know, like I don't know how these decisions get made, but like it would.
Here's the problem. They keep making money, and the game is still successful in Korea, and it's been successful for so long. So they're like, well, why should we change anything?
Why would we
like,
change anything?
Yeah, like we're still going strong. It's just,
Yeah, I mean, well, You think that the shutting down of MapleStory 2 would like have some sort of reaction, right? Because they obviously put a ton of resources into developing that game, and just to shut it down is like wild.
Well, into KMS, right? It was already pretty much dead in KMS, and then they threw it into the
Yeah.
Western market to try to salvage some of the money, and it didn't work here either. And they restarted Thailand MS after shutting it down for a while, and then they re-shut it down after like a year again because they still didn't get enough players back. The problem with these MMOs is that it takes a lot of time, a lot of people a lot of time to build up to get to a certain point. And if you just open them up for a year and then close them down again, like that means that next time you open up, people aren't going to be as quick to adapt because you're still pooling from the same group of people, and that same group of people realize that last time they invested into it and it closed down after a year, so they're not going to do that shit again. That's why EU Reboot went nowhere, because they were playing on EU, and then EU and NA merged into the same client, and then NA had a reboot, so that people who wanted to play Reboot were like, well, fuck, I guess I'm going to play NA Reboot now. And then 2 years later, they come out with EU Reboot, and the people are like, well, motherfucker, I just started again 2 years ago. I'm not going to start all over again now. Some people did, and then, but not too many people did, so it didn't reach a critical mass. Some people were like, I'm going back, I'm going to stay on NA. And that's why EU Reboot went nowhere. Like, MapleStory 2 should have been a build, like a rebuild from the source code from the ground up. And EU Reboot should have been just 10 channels on NA Reboot that had EU ping, where everyone could play. And then EU Reboot itself should have been legacy server MapleStory.
Yeah, I mean, I just wonder. I mean, like those are all like exactly what they should have done, right? And it feels like the player base, like
they could have told them. We could have told them that like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You could have like some sort of survey, like, you know, I feel like companies don't survey their actual player base enough.
Yeah, and we are like, do you know how many good reasons all of us have to like never play this game again? Like, how many times we've DC'd, how many times we've had to like make tickets for silly things that just keep going wrong over and over again. Like, we have so many damn good reasons to just. If we do get surveyed, oh yeah, how likely are you to recommend this game to a friend? Like, as you crash, like, imagine like getting that survey when you just crashed. Like, how likely are you gonna give it like more than a 1 out of 10?
All right, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate everything.
Yeah, dude, it's been a good 3 hours.
I didn't mean to take so much of your time up.
Well, you did. But you. To be fair, you also donated more than the regular amount, so I don't feel like you owe me anything, so that's good.
Well, I do really appreciate your content, and I like it a lot. So.
Well, I appreciate the talk, man. But I hope that I gave you enough room to grow into things where I was able to help you, and then hopefully for everything else, you can find more nice people, maybe a guild, maybe more Discord people who can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay. Well, best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'll see you in Reboot in like 2 months, okay?
We'll see.
We'll see. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, see you, man. All right, if you are also in Reboot, just like this guy was, and you would like an account progression session at about half this length at the most, make sure to follow the information in the description down below. And then one day you could also be chatting with me about Guild Wars 2 account systems and about how we should have had a legacy server right now, and about how the gear score in World of Warcraft works, because that's definitely what these sessions are made for, and that's what they're all about. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully it was educational for new players like yourselves, and I'll see you guys on the next one.